Good morning. The Prime Minister unleashes a new attack on Reform UK.
Sir Keir Starmer hits out at what he calls division and admits he is worried about the future of Britain if they were elected.
He's also confirmed talks with the EU about a new youth mobility scheme and says Angela Rayner will be making a return to the Cabinet.
The Justice Secretary, David Lammy, is accused of misrepresenting rape case figures in what critics call a cynical push to scrap jury trials.
Thomas Markle breaks his silence from his hospital bed, urging Meghan to reconcile, saying he doesn't want to die estranged.
Smorgasbord of misery we just heard from her can be summed up in one sentence. Labour are hiking taxes to pay for welfare. This is a budget for Benefit Street, Madam Deputy Speaker, paid for by working people.
As the Conservatives pledge to clamp down on eligibility for the Motability scheme, we'll debate whether taxpayers should be funding cars for people with mental health issues.
The King and Queen unveiled their new Christmas card. It features a portrait of the couple celebrating their 20th wedding anniversary.
Thousands of people will descend on Liverpool's streets today as they partake in Britain's biggest festive fun run called the Santa Dash.
A very good morning. Liverpool's Mo Salah has ignited a civil war at Anfield by accusing his manager Arne Slot of throwing him under the bus, hinting that he's played his last game for the club. He says he has no relationship with the Dutchman. We'll have more later this hour.
Are you fed up of the rain? Find out if there's any dry weather on the way in your full forecast coming up.
It's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Penny Smith and this is GB News Breakfast. What do you mean, am I? Yes, I am. I'm going to talk about sandwiches because my favourite... Well, because I just love a sandwich.
Are you feeling peckish, first thing?
Always, I think that's the problem, isn't it? My first thoughts turn to food. And my latest special is an egg, Cornish cruncher cheese and pickled onion sandwich.
Very nice.
And it's just, I've started to think about it already.
Where do you get one of those?
They're nearby.
Yeah, but you don't make it yourself, no?
No.
Well, I could easily make it myself.
Yeah.
You could.
To be fair.
But you buy them.
I do indeed, yes, because it is so much easier and there's less mess in the kitchen. Yeah, and you can eat it out that way.
Yeah, she's obsessed because she mentioned that very sandwich to me yesterday. I wondered if it was going to be a different sandwich, but no, we're still obsessing over that one.
Don't you do that? I do that thing where I'll eat the same sort of thing pretty much
like 6 weeks.
And then just never again. Yeah, bored with that. Not doing that again.
Yeah, I'm a bit like that with macaroni.
I was like that with chestnuts.
Chestnuts?
Sorry? I was like that with chestnuts for a while. Just ate chestnuts all the time. Yeah.
That's quite random.
Well, no, a little bit, yeah, but there is
Christmas
nutritional value in it as well, though.
Well, there is.
Yeah. But I'm back on them now. But I'm pleased to say.
Oh, lovely. Well, well done for you. I'll tell you what's given me something to smile about this morning. Cher.
Oh, yes.
Who doesn't love Cher? The woman is an icon. She just is. She's getting married again.
Yeah.
At the age of 80.
Yeah. And
to her 39-year-old boyfriend. And she's like, she don't care. She's just like, you know, you get older, but your spirit is younger. I just love him. He's beautiful and talented. So, and she wants to get married around May, which is when she turns 80.
She did a duet with her tribute act, didn't she? Cher and Cher alike.
Oh dear. Yeah, I always liked that Joan Collins comment when she married Percy, who was much younger than her. And she was asked about the age difference, and she just said, "Oh, if he dies, he dies."
Very good. So good luck to her.
Funny woman.
Love Cher.
Yeah,
right, now, this hour, we're just going to start off with this news about Meghan Markle's father, Thomas Markle, who's issued an emotional plea to his daughter, saying he doesn't want to die estranged.
Yes, the 81-year-old made the appeal from his hospital bed after having his left leg amputated below the knee.
While talking to the Mail on Sunday, he said he was confused by reports that Meghan had reached out to him following his health scare.
But Meghan Markle says she did email her father after the surgery.
Let's talk to Royal correspondent Richard Palmer, who joins us now. Richard, morning to you.
Morning.
What a mess, frankly. I mean, you don't know who to believe in all of this.
No, you're right. I mean, he is saying that his mobile number hasn't changed. It's not clear from friends people close to her whether she's tried to ring him. It doesn't sound like it, but it does appear that she emailed him on Friday, and he's saying, well, he doesn't really use email. She's saying, well, that's the email address he gave me. Terrible mess. And also, I think it's part of a wider row between, not just between Meghan and her father, but also Meghan and the Daily Mail group and the Mail on Sunday, who are really acting as intermediaries in this. They've got a reporter, Caroline Graham, one of their star reporters out there in the Philippines. She describes Thomas Markle as a father figure to her. As I understand it, Meghan is asking the Mail, can you please tell me which hospital my father's in, because I don't know. And there do seem to be quite a lot of hospitals in Cebu, in that part of the Philippines. I think the Mail hasn't told her where her father is. As you say, I mean, it's a story of claim and counterclaim, but at the same time, one of bad blood between Meghan and the Mail. They're going to court in January in a big case over her allegations that the newspaper group used unlawful means to obtain information about her.
There's also another aspect to this story, which is that his son says that he's finding it difficult to pay for it because the insurance doesn't cover this surgery.
Yes, yes. So I suppose that will raise it will raise issues about whether he's trying to make money out of this.
Oh, you see, I saw it the other way, Richard. Sorry to butt in, but I kind of saw that the other way, in that, you know, you have a daughter who's not short of cash, and maybe even if she doesn't actually get in touch the way that he would want her to get in touch, at least she could help alleviate the stress of not being able to pay for his treatment.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, as I've said before, really on here, I think that I think a lot of us have been through family rifts, and at the end of the day, most people will want to try to resolve issues. It may never be the same again, but I mean, I think the thought of her father dying and her not having spoken to him must be one that is causing her concern. And so then I guess many people will say, well, why don't you just pick up the phone and as you suggest, try to help him with his medical bills?
It depends how much damage has already been done over the years, doesn't it? OK, Richard, thank you very much indeed. Appreciate your time this morning.
Right, to our top story this morning, the Prime Minister has unleashed a fresh attack on Reform UK, but admits he is worried about the possibility of a government under Nigel Farage.
Yeah, he's given quite a wide-ranging interview with the Observer newspaper, and he says the party would tear communities apart. Should we talk to Jennifer Powers, who knows all about this sort of stuff? I mean, it's an interesting interview, Jennifer, isn't it? I mean, the Green Party are nuts. Reform are going to destroy the country. I mean, he doesn't pull his punches.
Good morning. Yeah, it's quite a big interview, quite a big spread in the Observer, and I think quite unusual from the Prime Minister. I can't remember that many big interviews, big set-piece interviews that he's done over the past few years, and it does feel like the hand of Tim Allen is behind it, who's the relatively new Director of Communications that's come in from the Blair era, has quite a pedigree and kind of trying to build profile of leaders like Starmer. And, I mean, you noted the aggressive nature of his attacks on Reform and the Greens. Notable, of course, that he doesn't attack the Conservatives as much because they're not really a threat to him. In terms of where Labour is bleeding the votes, it's to Reform on the right and the Greens on the left.
Well, it's interesting because even on, I mean, he sort of pivots onto Reform by saying, you know, although I always have wanted a Labour government, I've never worried about the state of the country if the Tories get in, which is a slightly odd thing to say anyway.
Yeah, he's trying to paint reform as even more extreme than the Conservatives, although I do remember in probably, I think, every previous general election, the Labour Party, warning that the evil Tories got in, that the whole world would fall apart. So I'm not sure how realistic his assessment is there. But for me, what was striking about it was the personal side of it. I mean, he spoke about his wife still working at NHS and, the pride in his children. And he talked about his real goal being to promote social mobility for young people and give kids a better chance in life. So I think he was trying to open up and give people a feeling for what drove him.
Yeah, but that's what we call in the business a puff piece? I mean, it's all about puffing yourself up.
Yeah. No, it did read to me more like that than it did a forensic demolition of reform or the Greens.
OK, Jennifer, thank you very much for the moment. We're going to see you again, but with the time at 10 minutes past 6, we're going to do the day's reflection now.
The GB News Advent Calendar, Day 7.
Hi, I'm Chris Tufnell, a vicar in the Church of England. We all know what it's like to wait for something that's taking far longer than it should. The parcel that's out for delivery for several days running, the customer service's callback that never seems to come. When promises are delayed, it either makes us doubt they'll ever be kept, or if we really trust the one who's made the promise, it grows our anticipation. Now, you can't really understand the message of Christmas without realizing that the birth of Jesus was something promised and anticipated for centuries. And so when he was finally born, for those who realized who he was, it was a cause of unspeakable joy. An old man called Simeon, who had been anticipating this moment for many years, held the newborn Jesus in his arms and prayed, "Sovereign Lord, as you have promised, you may now dismiss your servant in peace, for my eyes have seen your salvation." Christians believe that joy and peace and even a readiness to die come when we see and understand who Jesus is and why he came and what promises of God are fulfilled in him.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. We've got further wet and windy weather on the way through today, but it will be turning much milder once again in the south. And it's a damp start to the day for many of us. Outbreaks of rain and drizzle across more southern parts of England and Wales, and the rain's especially heavy across parts of Northern Ireland today, where we do have a rain warning in place. The rain will continue to make its way slowly and steadily northeastwards across the UK through the course of today, so some pretty heavy bursts of rain through this afternoon across southern western parts of Scotland and northern England. And here, after quite a cold start, feeling fairly chilly through this afternoon. Further south, though, 13 or 14 degrees, but actually turning quite windy as we go into this afternoon, with some coastal gales across southwestern parts of England. But across more northern parts of Scotland, after a dry start, the rain will arrive through this evening as well. Some particularly heavy rain coming into the central lowlands and the Lothians as well as we go towards the evening. But tending to turn a little bit drier across parts of Northern Ireland, so some clear spells developing here, and actually turning much drier across the vast majority of England and Wales by this evening, with some clear spells, and staying mild and breezy as we go through the course of tonight. There will be a tendency for the showers to increase, so potentially a band of heavier and more general rain pushing its way in from the west into parts of Wales and western England as we go through the course of the night. Perhaps even the odd rumble of thunder and some hail mixed in with this, and some quite squally winds too. But it will be a mild night, temperatures actually not falling below double figures in the south, and even further north, lows of 5 or 6 degrees, so generally speaking, a frost-free night to come. Now, Monday will be much brighter compared to on Sunday. There'll be some sunny spells for many parts of the UK, perhaps some longer spells of rain for parts of Scotland for a time. And there will be a scattering of showers elsewhere, but primarily in the north and the west, and actually some areas, mainly in the east, will stay largely dry. It will start to turn a little bit cloudy in the south later in the day, but temperatures are 13 or 14 degrees, so once again very mild.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the cars.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around, a nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
It's 6:18 now. Hundreds of people are expected to protest on the streets of Crowborough again today against plans to house 600 migrants in the town's army barracks.
On the topic of immigration, the former Prime Minister Liz Truss has spoken exclusively to the Late Show Live. She did that last night, where she gave her solution.
The Human Rights Act has to be abolished. That was the big mistake of the Conservative government, was not repealing all of the Tony Blair laws that created all these problems. The Human Rights Act, the Bank of England Act, the Climate Change Act, they all need to go. And we also need new people running the civil service.
Well, let's talk to international security and border control expert Henry Bolton. Morning to you, Henry. Well, as the people of Crowborough see no solution in the offing at the moment, is Liz Truss right? The Conservatives got it wrong with the ECHR.
Yes, she's right. I say that with a little hesitation because you've got countries like Denmark that have reduced their illegal immigration and their ability to manage asylum claims. They've really pretty much, they're the gold standard at the moment, and they've not left the ECHR, but their entire legal assumption for all of this is that if somebody comes into their country to claim asylum, it is by the very nature of it temporary. In the UK, we've got a very different approach, which is, bizarrely, if you let somebody in and give them sort of refuge, then the idea is that, if you let them in, then you're prepared to let them in permanently. It's a very odd thing. But ultimately, the ECHR creates a knot of legislative headaches that really, I mean, the country has to ask itself whether it wants to cope with all of that or just simply cut clean and make life a lot easier legislatively, close loopholes and so on. And that's the approach that I would favour.
Yes, because it's very, very difficult to actually sort of... It's that sort of aspect, isn't it, that many people say, which is you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You have to pick your way through this. And it's also about... as you say, it's about the legal process of somebody who is rejected. I mean, there are other ways of looking at this where I think that I'm right in saying that there are certain places where pretty much if you're an asylum seeker, you get, after obviously being checks are done, that the most likely outlook is that you do actually get accepted to live here. So you could argue that those are the countries that they should concentrate on getting through, and then the rest of them maybe spend a bit longer trying to work out whether or not they should be here.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the UK, once you're in, then effectively it's a clear road. Despite recent changes in government policy, it's a clear road to indefinite leave to remain and citizenship, which I find bizarre. I've always found it bizarre, and I know our European colleagues find it quite bizarre. So, we can address a lot of that through internal legislation. But I think, that those countries that are on the route for these people who try to get here, particularly the people who come across on the small boats, I mean, those are countries that don't give you that sort of that path to indefinite leave to remain and citizenship, and it's one of the reasons that they carry on all the way through to the United Kingdom. But when it comes to Crowborough, that's a different problem. I mean, they are related, of course they are, but the problem with Crowborough is a lack of forward planning on the part of this government and the previous one. We know that we've got these people coming, and as long as the government doesn't do something of the sort that we're talking about, plus reform our maritime border agencies to make sure that they're working more efficiently, as long as the government doesn't do that, and these boats are still going to come, and as long as these boats still come, we're going to have to accommodate these people. Now, we are, in some way, shape or form, that is going to be at the taxpayer's expense. So what is... how are we going to deal with that? And the government's got some serious sort of strategic questions to ask. Are we going to stop these boats? Are we really serious about this? Because at the moment, it doesn't look as though they are. If we are not, then we've got to have a sustainable, long-term solution to the accommodation of these people. It is no good putting them in hotels, renting accommodation, or taking up army or military training establishments or training bases like Crowborough, which actually then denies the military those facilities. And with the present military environment in Eastern Europe, and every other country in Europe apart from ours ramping up its military capability, at some point we're going to decide that we want to play catch up. But then we're going to look at our estate, the military estate, and go, it's full of asylum seekers. We've got nowhere to train people. The whole thing is down to a total lack of clarity of purpose. What is it the government wants to do, and how do you do it at a strategic level? It's all missing, and that links the ECHR.
But Henry, where are we now? I mean, I'm intrigued by Liz Truss's sort of intervention in this, because she says, well, the Tories should have got rid of the ECHR. She wants to bypass the fact she was leading them for a short period of time. But the Tories have already said they're going to get rid of the ECHR if they get in, and stricter controls and all of this. Reform, we know their position, which is even harder on this. And the Labour government would turn around and say, well, we are introducing these Danish-style rules. Now, you might not think they go far enough, but it is certainly a step in that direction. So is Liz Truss bringing anything to the table here?
No, I don't think she is, except to continue the momentum of political debate relating to whether we stay or not within the convention, the ECHR. But the present government is not doing enough. You're right. I don't think it is. But it's doing enough to make some people think it's at least doing something. But that something is meaningless without the foundation of legislative change and administrative change, which is utterly and completely missing. So it's all very well and good saying these things and tinkering around the edges, but without that sort of infrastructure, it's not going to change the numbers whatsoever. But I think that's what Liz is trying to do. She's trying to be a part of the debate. That's in a way her career, that's her job, that's her role in a sense, and B, she is trying to maintain the momentum. But you're right, Reform wants to leave the ECHR, the Conservatives say they'll leave the ECHR, the SDP say they'll leave the ECHR. So Labour and the Greens and the Lib Dems are out on a limb on this. And where it goes, I don't know, but it all depends on the shape and form of the next government, I suspect. I don't think we'll see any movement on it before then.
Henry, thank you very much. Henry Bolton, international security and border control expert. Now, a Home Office spokesperson said, "We are furious at the level of illegal migrants and asylum hotels in this country."
It's why work is underway to move asylum seekers to more suitable accommodation, like military bases, to ease pressure on communities across the country. Public safety remains our first priority. We're working closely with local authorities, property partners and the local community as we transition away from using hotels.
The time, 8:26, time for the Great British Giveaway and your chance to win our biggest cash prize of the year, an incredible £85,000. Here are the details.
This is your chance to become our biggest cash prize winner to date with an incredible £85,000 to be won. That's right, £85,000 in totally tax-free cash could be making its way from our bank account to yours. It would be like having over £7,000 per month extra to play with each month for a whole year. That could be you with your feet up, safe in the knowledge that 2026 is on us. £85,000 is a massive amount of money and it could be yours. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Now, still to come for you, Mo Salah says he's been thrown under the bus by Liverpool. It's dramatic stuff. We'll get the latest from Aidan in just a moment.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Well, you compound that with the fact that across a lot of industries, AI is wiping out jobs at that entry-level stage. Like take lawyers, for example. Pretty much any job that any lawyer up to about 8 years experience can do can now be done by AI. Same goes across a lot of services. You know, there will always be bartenders, or at least until robotics takes that as well. But you compound these things and I really do fear for the next generation of young people and the sense of purpose that they're potentially not going to have by just not having jobs.
But the minimum wage is rising for everyone, isn't it? It's because if you are going to employ people, it'll still be cheaper to employ 18 to 20-year-olds, won't it? Because they're still going to get paid less than other people. So I don't see why that's going to curb jobs for them. People still need to hire people. People still need people to do the jobs.
Yeah, it's very difficult, though. I own a small business. I employ people. And it is difficult, you know. And this is why things like the black market are being so easily fed, especially with asylum sneakers hanging about.
Asylum sneakers?
Yes, that's what we call them now.
Yeah, we announced that yesterday.
Adidas Asylum.
That's what we.
That's what I
That's
call
what they
it.
are now. Yeah.
I've got a new brand. They weren't refugees. But, no, but this is...
Did you not get the email about that?
I didn't know, mate.
By the way, the more you put the wages up, it just gets passed on to the customer.
Well,
if the customer can't afford to pay it because Rachel Reeves is taxing them, because the minimum wage has gone up and the business national insurance has gone up, we just hit a stalemate. This is what we've got. It's like the whole economy turns into moss.
Yeah, well, just sorry, because we don't have to whiz ourselves on, but on that note of everything else going up, food prices are apparently predicted to grow after the budget taxes as well. So for all this talk about you paying people more, well, if everything else costs more, then it doesn't really go anywhere, does it?
GB News, the People's Channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Oh, look at that. Right, so we're talking about the sport and we've just worked things out. I mean, we know obviously Aidan's here. We didn't need to actually, work that one out. We were trying to work out how much Mo Salah earns per year.
£400,000 a week, according to his latest contract, Penny. Estimations, really, because we never really know unless we see the contract.
Okay.
But they're
21
usually
million
brief.
a year.
The agents usually brief something in the region
Okay.
of what they're earning. We reckon about a basic of £21 million. That doesn't include endorsements. That doesn't include
Right.
bonuses. It could easily touch 26 million, something like that.
And the reason we are talking about him...
Yes, look, I mean, it was a big weekend of sport anyway. This has blown everything off for the back pages, really, for the papers last night, who had time to include it in their coverage. But Mo Salah, Liverpool player, Egyptian international, known as the Egyptian Prince, huge name globally. He was left out of the team yesterday. He's been left out the last 3 games by Liverpool as they've stuttered. Don't forget they spent £450 million in the summer. They were meant to win. They won the league last season, the Premier League. They were meant to win it even easier this year and go well in the Champions League, but neither of which has happened. So he's been left out. Liverpool struggle again yesterday. They're now 10 points off the lead. They were 2-0 up until quite late in the game against Leeds. They were meant to see that game out. Leeds are struggling, and instead they end up drawing 3-3. They led again late on in the 6th minute of added time by 3 goals to 2. They still couldn't see it out. But Leeds got back to 3-3. Mo Salah, who's been left on the bench, not even used, not even brought on to try and rectify any problems. I've never known this before. He's one of these guys who goes through the mixed zone, doesn't speak to any journalists.
Goes through the what?
The mixed zones. The mixed zone is where the players have to pass through the reporters, and they can stop if they want. You can say, "Can I have a chat with you?" Usually the answer is no, but for Salah, it's never yes. It's always headphones on, straight on. He has made a beeline for the reporters. They're not even his own reporters in Liverpool who he would be on kind of familiar terms with. These are guys who work in Yorkshire and work in Leeds, so most of them he wouldn't have seen before, or if he has, he wouldn't have had any truck with. But he's gone and sought them out, and he's come out with these quotes which are I just find it incredible. And he says, "I'm very disappointed. I've done so much for this club over the years, especially last season. It seems like the club has thrown me under the bus. That's how I feel. Someone wants me to get all the blame." This is because he feels that he's been scapegoated. He feels that he's been left out the side. But what about the rest of the team? We're all playing terribly. Why don't some of the others get dropped? Some of the other players that were signed in the summer, why don't they get dropped? Why is everyone coming in for me? Now, what's interesting is
Point, hasn't it?
He has. Look, it's always 6 of 1. Remember when Cristiano Ronaldo did an interview and criticised Eric Ten Hag at Man United? The difference then, Penny, was that Ten Hag was in a strong-ish position at Man United then, but he hadn't just won the Premier League. This is a guy, yes, he's a big player for Liverpool, a big player in Liverpool's history, arguably one of their greatest players ever, but he's challenging the authority of a title-winning manager, an incumbent title-winning manager who won the Premier League 6 months ago.
Yeah, but it's also a manager whose team is doing very badly.
They're doing very badly. As I say, they're 10 points off the pace. It's not going well in the Champions League. There aren't many... It's like this is, in football terms, this is seismic. What will be interesting now will be gauging the temperature of what happens from here on in. Will the fans think, actually, the player's making this all about himself? Yes, OK, he's been scapegoated, but the numbers are clear. I mean, I said to you in the break, didn't I? The last 30 matches, he scored 7 goals in 30 games. If you look at the 30 before that, his output was 25 goals in 30 games. There was a clear drop-off in his performance. And you have to be culpable for that. You have to be introspective and say, you know what...
I'm being paid £21 million and I should really...
Precisely, which is why a lot of people don't... Well, look, the manager's getting paid. They all get paid well. They all get paid well. It's not just him. In fact, there'll be arguably people on even more than him in the summer. I'm not sure what Alexander Isak is on, but it'll be commensurate to the fact that he costs in excess of £100 million, so he'll be on good money, and he's not performing either. I think he scored 1 goal in the Premier League. So it's whether the
just
fans...
one person, but am I being an idiot here? But I mean, you know, going back a long time ago to when Queen Victoria was on the throne, but when I played hockey, you know, I could score the goals because I was supposed to be scoring goals.
You're good.
But... I wasn't bad. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, I was only vice-captain because I was a bit naughty. Otherwise, I reckon I would have been captain. Anyway, but the point is that, you know, I could only score a goal if somebody actually hit me the shot, which found that... It's a team. It's a team
game, yes. So look, there will be some who want the manager out anyway because they're not performing well, and actually they think, Salah's got a point here. He's been part of a successful team for years and years. He knows what takes a successful team. So did Slot win it last season on the back of the previous manager's good work? Because that's how it's looking to a lot of people right now. Right. And it's where it goes from here. Do the fans side with their idol, the player, or do they think, actually, he's making it about himself? He's deliberately tried to undermine the authority of the manager, and maybe the manager, who's already got some credit in the bank because he just won the league, the bottom line is it's January next month. I wonder whether this has been concerted because... Well, this has been choreographed by the player because he wants to move next month in the transfer window. But it didn't make a lot of the back page.
Well, it made the Sun has got it on.
Made the Sun, the Sun and the Mail. I think.
They want me out.
Too late for some of the others. But I was wondering where on earth this interview came from. So I'm thinking, has he given it earlier in the week? In Egypt or something? Has he been somewhere? Has he done some kind of media junket? But no, he literally went to the reporters yesterday. I want to talk to you lot. And he had a chat with them. And he said, this is what I want to say. And I want to attack the manager. And that's what he's done. And it's pretty much unprecedented in Premier League history.
Right. Can we have a quick look at the Ashes?
Yes,
they're at tea at the moment, aren't they?
They are indeed. 134 for 6 is what England resumed on. There's a bit of a stand between Ben Stokes and Will Jacks. They haven't conceded any wickets or given away any wickets this morning, which is good. But, look, the lead is now very slender, and I don't see a way back for England. I think this could be not just the death knell for England's Ashes hopes, but possibly even the death knell of Bazball. I think there's going to be a huge change of tactics over this. The bottom line, though, Stephen and Penny, is that you can argue about preparation, you can argue about individual things that went wrong in matches. England just aren't quite at the level that Australia are at, especially when they travel down under.
Yeah. And sometimes there are just teams, aren't there? I mean,
yes,
you know, it's like look at the rugby. You know, all of the local team, England, Wales, Scotland, go up, go down. I remember growing up, and Wales were the ones to beat.
Triple Crown, I know, in the 80s.
So there you go.
I remember well. Back later, lots more to cover.
Yeah. Lovely. All right, Aidan, thank you very much indeed. Still to come for you are young people being overdiagnosed with mental issues. We'll be discussing why one headmaster thinks so, as Emma Wolf and Lewis Oakley take us through the papers.
Look at them looking lovely over there. Let's get the forecast, though, for some of the top European destinations now.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. It's still pretty unsettled in the eastern Mediterranean over the next few days. There will be some heavy showers and thunderstorms around too. But across Iberia and actually most of the Canary Islands and Madeira, it's largely fine, and there'll be plenty of sunshine on Monday. Just a few showers for northwestern parts of Spain and Portugal. Sunny for most of Italy too, but we run into more in the way of showers and stronger winds pushing down across parts of Greece and into Turkey. But overall, over the next few days, there's lots of sunshine to be enjoyed, and it will feel fairly warm.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, this is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here. GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you.
Take the GB News family with you on any device, and as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it? Because the
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It is very nearly 6:42. Let's have a look at the front pages, and the Observer splashes on their interview with Sir Keir Starmer. The caption, gloves off.
The Mail on Sunday has their interview with Thomas Markle on the front page, who claims he doesn't want to die estranged from Meghan.
Sunday Times has reports that David Lammy has been accused of twisting rape case figures to push through jury reforms.
The Sunday Telegraph reports that the Unite Union is considering an historic vote on whether to break with Labour.
And the Sunday Mirror says COVID fraud costs the UK £10.9 billion.
Well, joining us to go through the newspapers is writer and journalist Emma Wolfe and podcaster and journalist Lewis Oakley. And shall we start with that story, Emma, in the Mail about that we teased earlier on about teenagers and anxiety, mental health conditions, that sort of thing?
Yes, I do feel like a lot of us have been saying this for quite a few years now, but this is the what do they call him, the master of Wellington College, James Dahl, who has been talking about social media and about the effect that it's having on teenagers and young people, and how it's, you know, telling them or diagnosing or sort of convincing them that they somehow have anxiety disorders, not just anxiety, which we all have, or depression, which everybody goes through, ups and downs, but that they have anxiety disorders, that they have ADHD, that there are specific issues, that they're sort of getting locked into this world where you watch TikToks constantly and it tells you, it'll diagnose you and it'll give you top tips for 3 easy steps to beat your depression and your anxiety. Where many of us would say, well, get out of the house, put the phone down and all of that. But he obviously works a lot. He's been at Wellington for 6-7 years, and he's talking about the difference between the kind of teenagers now and, say, 20-30 years ago, the self-pathologization of it all, the medicalization of it all, the fact that we have so many young people on antidepressants not working, basically shut indoors staring at a screen.
I mean, it's crazy, Lewis, isn't it? I mean, this idea that children have no... And it's bad news for those kids that do have anxiety and depression and ADHD, because they're not getting the attention they need because everyone else is just jumping on the bandwagon.
Well, I don't know about that. Look, I think that he's right to say, look, there is an element of you're going to have to crack on in most cases, fine. But I do think knowledge is power, and I think that maybe 20, 30 years ago, people would have not really understood what was going on with them, whereas now, people are much more informed to know, oh my God, this is what's happening to me, and actually, this might help. I'm going to do some breath work or whatever it is. So I think it's about what is coming from all this. And I will say...
The problem is that children now seem to think if they are anxious, that is something wrong with them, rather than it actually just being part of life. At times you are anxious.
Yeah, and at times you're anxious, and then hopefully being more aware of it says, OK, this is what I need to do. And I will say this as well, because it's all well and good comparing things to the 90s and the 80s. Life was a lot slower. And I think there's a real thing here of the chicken and the egg. Is it that actually having constant news and constant alerts and all of the choice everyone's got nowadays is actually causing a lot of this, whereas back in the 80s, you know, 4 channels, life was slower. If someone wanted to be me...
But there were different challenges in previous generations.
It was a lot tougher. I mean, and I'm not talking about the 90s and 80s, but, you know, earlier in the century, it was a lot tougher. I mean, this all comes down to the problem, which is the smartphone, which is social media. It is a big problem. It's a massive problem. And when you talk about, you know, it's all very well telling people to crack on. Yes, resilience is a huge life skill. Resilience is probably at the heart of everything because we are all going to have tough times. We are never, I mean, happiness anyway, what does that mean? Yeah. But I mean, if you expect, when the minute you call it anxiety disorders, it's not a disorder in any way. It's completely normal to be anxious. People who can't attend work interviews because they have anxiety disorders. Are you kidding me? We all feel nervous before an interview. That's the point.
Yeah, I get that, but I think that I think it's just about understanding what you're feeling and figuring out what you need to do about it. For example, I've probably self-diagnosed myself with high-performance anxiety because I'm one of those people that would say, oh, I don't have anxiety, oh, it's fine, fine, fine. And then I read all these things, it's like, oh, and I'm like, oh, that's why I have 5 jobs. And it's not anything I need to medicalise or anything, but it is something I now watch, is like, why are you doing all this work? Why are you working 24/7? Is it because you are nervous about something? And actually being able to see that in myself has actually made me be able to calm down a little bit and say, you know what, I don't need to do that. And so I do think in moments like that, and
that's self-awareness, that's learning about yourself, that's understanding, that's actually growing up. Yeah. And secondly, I'm not saying we should say to kids, I would never say to my 5-year-old, oh, just get over it, you know, if he was depressed or if he was anxious. But and of course, treat people with compassion. And yes, self-understanding, thinking about what situations make you feel this way, looking at relationships. Does this make you feel depressed? Does this make you feel low self-esteem? All of that. But I mean, this pathologization of absolutely normal human emotions and experiences is not helpful.
I think the other thing, Emma, isn't it, is that, and I think both of those, you know, obviously this is the whole thing about discussion, is the fact that people don't discuss things anymore. They take positions, and they have found, for example, in the schools where they have banned mobile phones from the premises, full stop, not allowed them at all. They have discovered that everybody, 100% everybody, feels better. Yeah. That the children play in the playground.
Talk to each other.
They talk to each other.
They're kinder.
They go out, they're kinder.
They're healthier.
They're healthy.
Because it all goes together. Anxiety, obesity, ADHD, all of these symptoms are to do with being indoors, staring at a screen, seeing only little snapshots of other people's lives and not the lack of human contact. We're human beings.
Well, as I say, it's chicken or egg. Is it that these kids are overdiagnosing, or is it that they have got technology now and new stresses that are causing this epidemic?
But then it's surely it's a bit of both, isn't it? I mean, I think it's a bit of, well, I mean, from my point of view, it seems to be a bit of both. It's about non-stop doom scrolling and comparing yourself to others and saying,
I'm not as good as them, I'm worse than them, they do that, so that must mean I'm whatever
better abs than me.
and they're better,
And when you're 12, but when you're 15, that's a big deal. Whereas, you know, when you're 105, like we are, you can at least say, do you know what? I feel better when I go for a walk than when I spend 3 hours staring at Twitter.
All right, well, we've come to some sort of agreement on that one. Let's, Lewis, have a look at the Sunday Mirror, should we? And look at this 10.9 billion in fraud related to COVID schemes.
It's outrageous, isn't it? So this is coming out on Tuesday. It's a report, and yet 10.9 billion in fraud. I mean, I got to say, I read this and I thought, I feel like this is an underestimate. I feel like there would be, I feel like there would be loads more money. I mean, this is. Here's the hard thing, and I was very anti the way the government handled COVID, but I guess on balance you could say, well, it was an unprecedented situation. They had to do things. They were going at speed. They took the position that, look, there's going to be a bit of fraud. What are we going to do? We have to try and stimulate the economy, because this has pointed at things like eat out to help out and that kind of stuff.
Bounce back loans.
Bounce back loans. So these are all of the things that we're trying to keep the country going and try and bring it back up. I don't know. I mean, one thing I would say about this kind of stuff still goes on. It was just that on COVID, it was on steroids of mates getting, you know, contracts and things like that. So I don't really know what the lesson is to learn here, to be honest.
Well, the lesson to be learned was that it was far too easy for scammers to get through, because it really was just a case of, do you have a company? And essentially, you didn't even have to prove that you had that company for very long. You could have had a company that
I think this is the problem with government, though. They can't create the infrastructure quick enough. So that were they going to spend more money to go and run all these due diligence checks? No. So I guess I really don't want to defend the government on anything with COVID. But at the same time, it's like, I guess you probably just had to say, look, that's just an occupational hazard of this. We're not going to spend another 10 billion to double-check everyone's done what they've said. We're just going to have to go for it because we're going at speed here.
It shouldn't be that hard. I mean, really. I watched a friend, literally filling out a box, and he did have a small company. And minutes later, he'd qualified for £542 or something, kind of every month or every 3 months, or whatever it was. But it was so easy.
It was too
and as you say, this is a massive underestimate. By the nature of it, fraud, by the nature of it, 11 billion nearly in fraud means that there was probably 33 billion or 44 billion. Well, crazy amount. The government just threw money at this.
It's one of those stupid things, isn't it, where actually, as Lewis says, and he could well be right, that if they'd done the right due diligence, it might have cost them 11 billion.
Well, why should it be so hard? Everything is on HMRC.
Well, it might not have been that hard, but it probably would have cost 11 billion to do it. So you could say, well, there was no fraud, but it still cost...
Well, they shouldn't have locked the entire country down and stopped everybody going to work.
One thing I would say...
Shocking time.
I think there is an issue here in the wider picture of governments making such big mistakes, and then they're all gone now. They can't be held to account, and that irritates me, that we can't hold people to account for big...
Well, you shouldn't have anxiety
like
over
this.
stuff
And
like
then
that.
but on the budget last week, we were arguing about whether, you know, the two-child benefit cap should be listed, which will cost 2 or 3 billion. So this is shocking. This is a shocking waste of public money.
But, well, yeah, but it's
And it
done.
happens. And it happens again.
But it's done and it's over.
Well, let's see what will happen next time around. They've got blue tongue or something in Northern Ireland, and I'm thinking, what's that? Is that the next one?
Masks now for flu.
It's harmless.
Blue tongue can't affect humans.
Yeah,
so.
but flu, definitely, they are talking about.
Yeah.
I think they're only talking about masks, though, for when you feel ill, and I think that we had a slight discussion about that yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
And I would like anybody who's essentially snivelling and sneezing and wiping the detritus on the seats and everything, they should all be wearing masks anyway.
Oh, right, let's all wear a filthy piece of cloth over our faces again, because that will help with infections.
At least it might have stopped.
Stay
ill, they
indoors.
wouldn't
If you're
be
ill,
on public
stay indoors and don't
transport.
infect other people.
Exactly,
Right.
save yourself.
Let's have something a little bit lighter, please. This is yours, Lewis. Stop calling me mate, says the Mail on Sunday.
Yes, so this is it's a survey from a radio station, and they're basically talking about they don't like sort of doctors and professionals to be calling them mates, and they kind of feel like that's way too personal. And I actually got to say, I mean, they only surveyed 50 to 90-year-olds, but I totally agree. If I went into the doctors and they were like, "How you doing, mate?" I would probably not want to trust their medical advice.
Never ever happened.
No, that's different. A doctor. I think of my dad, who used to sort of suddenly, I mean, very kind of aristocratic, very very gentlemanly kind of posh man would suddenly start talking to the builders and the plumbers and, you know, dropping his H's. And I think it's that kind of thing, trying to be chummy. I don't think the doctor...
Well, this is even the Prince of Wales, apparently, addresses a butler by saying, how you doing, mate?
Yeah.
It's just embarrassing. That's really embarrassing. And it sounds a bit... Well, it's silly. How you doing, mate?
Interestingly, it irritates more women than men.
I quite like
According
it
to
when
the
someone
survey.
says, hello, love. All right, love.
Oh, love.
Hello, darling. It just makes you feel that we're human. I love that. And I like it when...
I call people, especially people
I say love.
when you don't know who they are, I call them love a lot.
Yeah, I do. And I realise it's because you're old. When you get old, you start calling everybody love.
It's great. I don't like being called a guy or guys. Hi, guys.
Hey, guys.
That's quite American.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just stop it.
How do you feel about call centres? That was mentioned in here, that people don't like over-familiarity with
I don't like it when they
call
use your first name
centres.
in a call centre.
No, I don't.
I mean, they shouldn't even use your name or have your number.
We're all in agreement. Emma
there you
and Lewis
go.
will be back later.
They will. In the meantime, let's have a look at the weather for you with Tom.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. We've got further wet and windy weather on the way through today, but it will be turning much milder once again in the south. And it's a damp start to the day for many of us. Outbreaks of rain and drizzle across more southern parts of England and Wales, and the rain's especially heavy across parts of Northern Ireland today, where we do have a rain warning in place. The rain will continue to make its way slowly and steadily northeastwards across the UK through the course of today, so some pretty heavy bursts of rain through this afternoon across southern western parts of Scotland and northern England. And here, after quite a cold start, feeling fairly chilly through this afternoon. Further south, though, 13 or 14 degrees, but actually turning quite windy as we go into this afternoon, with some coastal gales across southwestern parts of England. But across more northern parts of Scotland, after a dry start, the rain will arrive through this evening as well. Some particularly heavy rain coming into the central lowlands and the Lothians as well as we go towards the evening. But tending to turn a little bit drier across parts of Northern Ireland, so some clear spells developing here, and actually turning much drier across the vast majority of England and Wales by this evening, with some clear spells, and staying mild and breezy as we go through the course of tonight. There will be a tendency for the showers to increase, so potentially a band of heavier and more general rain pushing its way in from the west into parts of Wales and western England as we go through the course of the night. Perhaps even the odd rumble of thunder and some hail mixed in with this, and some quite squally winds too. But it will be a mild night, temperatures actually not falling below double figures in the south, and even further north, lows of 5 or 6 degrees, so generally speaking, a frost-free night to come. Now, Monday will be much brighter compared to on Sunday. There'll be some sunny spells for many parts of the UK, perhaps some longer spells of rain for parts of Scotland for a time. And there will be a scattering of showers elsewhere, but primarily in the north and the west, and actually some areas, mainly in the east, will stay largely dry. It will start to turn a little bit cloudier in the south later in the day, but temperatures are 13 or 14 degrees, so once again very mild.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
This is your chance to become our biggest cash prize winner to date. £85,000 in totally tax-free cash could be making its way from our bank account to yours. It would be like having over £7,000 per month extra to play with each month for a whole year. That could be you, safe in the knowledge that 2026 is on us. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Good morning. The Prime Minister unleashes a new attack on Reform UK.
Sir Keir Starmer hits out at what he calls division and admits he's worried about the future of Britain if they were elected.
It's also confirmed talks with the EU about a new youth mobility scheme and says Angela Rayner will make a comeback to the Cabinet.
Are raped in our country tonight, that you might be waiting until 2028. 2029 for a hearing.
The Justice Secretary David Lammy is accused of misrepresenting rape case figures in what critics are calling a cynical push to scrap jury trials.
Thomas Markle breaks his silence from his hospital bed, urging his daughter Meghan to reconcile, saying he doesn't want to die estranged.
Smorgasbord of misery we just heard from her can be summed up in one sentence. Labour are hiking taxes to pay for welfare. This is a budget for Benefit Street, Madam Deputy Speaker, paid for by working people.
As the Conservatives pledge to clamp down on eligibility for the Motability scheme, we'll debate whether taxpayers should be funding cars for people with mental health issues.
The King and Queen have unveiled their Christmas card for this year, featuring a portrait of the couple celebrating their 20th anniversary.
Thousands of people will descend on Liverpool streets today, partaking in Britain's biggest festive fun run. It's the Santa Dash.
Liverpool's Mo Salah has ignited a civil war at Anfield by accusing his manager Arne Slot of throwing him under the bus, hinting that he's played his last game for the club. In F1, it's all eyes on Lando Norris as he stands on the verge of glory, and in the Ashes, England shows signs of defiance on day 3 of the second test in Brisbane.
Are you fed up of the rain? Find out if there's any dry weather on the way in your full forecast coming up.
It's just gone 7 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Penny Smith, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Look, I've just learnt some shocking news.
What?
Who is the best person at solving murders?
Solving them? Well, obviously, well, it's Sherlock Holmes, surely, isn't it?
John Nettles.
No,
John Nettles.
No.
John Nettles?
Yeah.
No.
Bergerac.
When it comes,
Bergerac, sorry.
When it comes to the numbers.
Yeah.
What?
Jessica Fletcher.
Miss Marple.
Murder, She Wrote.
No, Jessica Fletcher.
Angela Lansbury.
Yeah. Died recently.
Number one, wow.
Yes. So she was in Murder, She Wrote from 1984 to 1996, and she solved 268 crimes in Cabot Cove. She was. You wouldn't want to meet Jessica Fletcher because, I mean, someone always died every time when she turned up anywhere. But yeah, so she's solved the most. Second was Dick Van Dyke with Diagnosis Murder. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Where's Taggart? Is he on the list?
Taggart isn't on the list. He solved 178.
But Sherlock, surely.
Magnum.
Oh, Magnum, yeah.
Magnum PI.
Yeah, Tom Selleck. He got 154. that
He was a very
solved.
handsome man with a magnificent moustache.
Uh,
I mean, you could have actually run horse races over that moustache, couldn't you? You'd have had people on pole position right at the sides waiting to
That was a
wade their
great
way
show,
through.
Magnum PI.
It was. And also, they named an ice cream, one of my favourite ice creams on the stick.
after him.
That, well, I presume.
Is nobody on the bill? Nobody from the bill in there, no?
No, they didn't solve that many.
Bill didn't solve
Not in the
anything.
hundreds.
They were just too busy doing things in the staff room.
Yeah.
Eating Magnums.
Enough of Reg Hollis. We ought to go anyway, so there you go. I just thought that was quite interesting, but I mean, it did go on for years, didn't it?
I think that's the difference. She wasn't the greatest detective. It's just she was
had
there
more
the
episodes,
longest.
yeah.
Yes, exactly.
There we go. Right, anyway, on to serious stuff this morning, because the Prime Minister has unleashed an attack on Reform UK, admitting he's worried about the possibility of a government under Nigel Farage.
In a wide-ranging interview with the Observer newspaper, Sir Keir Starmer claims the party would tear communities apart and undermine, in his words, who we are as a country.
He also confirmed the government is seeking to strike a new deal on youth mobility with the European Union, allowing young people to live, work and study across Europe and, of course, allow the young Europeans to come over here.
Going to get more with political commentator Jennifer Powers, who joins us in the studio. Should say, actually, also that this is accompanied by a rather nice black and white... Well, it's a black and white picture of Sir Keir there. Well, that's on the front page. Let me just move my mug out the way so that they can actually get a nice, clear shot. So it's a nice black and white picture of him. And, yeah... It says, gloves off, the Greens are nuts. This is the sort of thing that they've got on the side. The Greens are nuts, Reform is tearing us apart, Rayner's coming back, I love the job.
Well, and those are the presumably the key messages.
Key messages.
That Starmer and his team wanted to get across, and so I think that in and of itself is quite instructive. I think this is the first attempt as a new strategy to reposition the Prime Minister.
Because he's got a new Chief of Staff. Is it Chief of Staff? I never know what they're called.
No,
what
it's like head of media or something,
Head
isn't
of,
it?
yes.
Yeah, I mean, he's got Tom Baldwin, who is his biographer, who is an outside advisor to him, and he's been on the podcast circuit over the last few weeks, trying to puff up his friend, Keir Starmer, and recently Tim Allen came in as Director of Communications, or one of the communications team. But yeah, I think, we talked about how he is worried about the future under Reform. Well, I think needs to be worried about things closer to home, because we know from the polls that he is at the lowest approval rating at, I think it's negative 47% now, which is really a dismal place to be in, especially this soon into a parliament. So gloves off, I think, is a reference more to any contenders to take the crown of the Labour Party than it is Reform. He's really trying to assert himself, saying, no, I do have a mission. It's about youth fulfilling their potential, and I do have the resilience and the determination to see it through. So
I'll tell you what, the thing with it, and it depends what perspective you're coming from, but I meet a lot of people up and down the country, and when they talk about politics, they're very often saying, we've had enough, we don't like where we are as a country, and they sort of very often like the idea of reform, not universally, but the idea of saying reform is tearing us apart, it's not who we are as a country. Well, if you go out and talk to people, they say, we don't like where we are as a country, so we want change.
Yeah, and I think this is so epitomizes the worldview of someone like Keir Starmer, or someone that comes from the progressive left, that sees people that have a different view of the world or what they want Britain to be like as innately bad or evil or divisive, as opposed to, being able to understand their point of view and admit that their point of view has validity. And I think it really sums up why so many Labour voters or potential Labour voters have left the party and are pledging their support to Reform in the first instance, and perhaps other parties. So, yeah, I don't think he's someone that can reach out to those who are disaffected. I think there's this new strategy emerging of him really trying to appeal to the left. I mean, he does attack the Greens, but I think some of the policies that we're seeing coming out over the past week, they recognize that trying to pull back some of that progressive vote.
So in here, we've got the fact that he is a staunch pro-European who refuses to revisit Brexit. And later on, the journalist says, I ask him 5 times whether he still believes the UK will not rejoin the EU in his lifetime. As he said in the run-up to the election last year, he conspicuously fails to repeat the claim. And this is the other thing that people don't like, is the fact that secretly they think that he might, the people who voted for Brexit secretly think that he wants to take back into the...
Well, I don't think it's much of a secret. I mean, this was the man who led the second referendum push. So he's someone who is incredibly keen on closer relationships with Europe. And he talks in the piece about how they're in making good progress in negotiations to bring us closer, but rules out the customs union. But I agree with you. In his heart, I think he still regrets the fact that we've left. And he would love to take us back in if he could, but the political assessment right now is that that's too much trouble, and he doesn't want to open that kind of worm.
But I think that... sorry, I was just going to say... All I was going to say was that I think the people know that.
I think that we're not stupid, are we?
No, exactly.
It's interesting, of course, because David Lammy was talking about the customs union just the other day, which seemed to be going against what the PM's saying. But also, David Lammy's come under attack as well. He's bringing in this, reduction of jury trials, and he said one of the reasons for doing that is rape cases. He said 60% of victims are pulling out of cases because of delays in the court system, so he wants to speed the court system up. Anyway, leading barristers have come out and said that's absolute nonsense. Only 8%... there's only an 8% reduction of people who've been charged. People who are dropping out are doing it pre-charge.
Yes.
Which is therefore nothing to do with delays in the system.
Yes. No, really fascinating to see the first major attack on these proposed reforms, which would rule out jury service for quite a few of these crimes. Yeah, I mean, if we look back at his the press statement and some of his interviews, I mean, he's right to say that 60% of rape cases don't, progress the whole way, and that there is a huge dropout rate. But as you say, when you look at the data in more detail, it shows the majority of these happen during the police investigation. They happen pre-charge, and only 8% happen post-charge. So, yes, did he perhaps gloss over the finer detail of that to give a slightly misleading impression? It would seem so. However, I would say that 8% of rape cases falling apart post-charge because of the delays in the courts, that is still a problem, and that doesn't mean that shouldn't be solved. Whether that is sufficient justification to take away this ancient right of trial by jury is obviously a much bigger question.
Well, Chris Henley, who's a KC, who's been in some very high-profile cases, said Lammy is inaccurate. He must know. It's really cynical. He's either cynical or staggeringly gullible about the data, which is quite an indictment,
isn't it? I mean, it's one of the statistics that one of the lines that was used that really had the most weight. I think when they came out with the policy, it was like, oh yes, these rape cases really need to be sorted.
Well, on that very accusation that David Lammy has misrepresented rape figures, a Ministry of Justice spokesperson described the lawyer's comments as completely misleading, saying David Lammy has been clear that justice delayed is justice denied. Court delays are a crucial factor in discouraging people from seeking justice at all stages.
Now, the time, 12 minutes past 7. Hundreds of people are expected to protest on the streets of Crowborough again today against plans to house 600 migrants in the town's army barracks.
On the topic of immigration, the former Prime Minister, Liz Truss, spoke to The Late Show Live last night. She had this to say.
The Human Rights Act has to be abolished. That was the big mistake of the Conservative government, was not repealing all of the Tony Blair laws that created all these problems. The Human Rights Act, the Bank of England Act, the Climate Change Act, they all need to go. And we also need new people running the civil service.
Well, the immigration lawyer, Ivan Sampson, joins us now. Good morning to you. Your thoughts, first of all, on what Liz Truss said?
I think she's partly right, especially the comments about the civil service. The civil service and the ministers have to work as a team. That didn't happen under the Conservatives, and it's certainly not happening under Labour, and certainly the Home Office where you're getting civil servant masters, policies or administration of the systems not effective. So I think something has to change the way the civil service is run.
Yeah, but there's no real solution to all of this at the moment, is there? I mean, even when the government looks at all the issues, I mean, surrounding issues like Crowborough and all the hotel migrants and all these issues, all the government is really saying on this is, well, we need to get people out of hotels into other accommodation, which doesn't solve the problem, is it? I mean, it's moving the deck chairs on the Titanic rather than actually solving the leak.
Look, to solve the leak, this country has to make some really hard decisions that don't sit well with our moral compass, and that's the problem. So 4 things: repeal the Human Rights Act, withdraw from the European Convention on Human Rights, withdraw from the 2 treaties that oblige us to rescue people at sea, SOLAS and UNCLOS, and then tow the boats back. I mean, we're not going to do that, are we? But that's what Australia did, and that's what solved the problem. We can't rely on the French. We can't secure our borders. We're treaty bound to rescue people from the Channel, which is right. I mean, you can't let people drown. But so those tough decisions that need to be made won't be made. The way round it is to have a treaty, a legally enforceable treaty with the European Union itself, to force them to stop people setting off. The only people that can stop it are the French. We can't do it. We can't possibly monitor and secure the French side. We can only react to them not doing it and having to pick people up.
Yeah, but but the argument is we can pick people up and then take them straight back or take them straight somewhere.
Well, as I said, hard decisions need to be made. I mean, looking at the political landscape, there's only one party who may do that, and that would be Reform. And look, Nigel Farage is cutting through because he's saying what many people have been thinking about, but haven't been able to say it. And then on top of that, people feel the country's reached a tipping point. They're tired of vague promises, a system that has been mismanaged for many years. And I think communities like the ones in Scotland feel that decisions are being imposed on them without proper consultation. Look, I feel for them. If I was having a migrant, massive barracks next to my home, I might have something to say. I said, well, I want to be consulted before that decision is made. Government are not doing that, and that's why people feel aggrieved.
Well, and of course, the other way of looking at it is that really we need to stop the boats getting into Europe in the first place as well, because, of course, the reason that they end up wanting to come to England, well, there's multiple reasons, but from what I've heard, what I've gleaned, is that lots of people have family here or connections here, and English is the universal language, and most people speak a smattering of English. So there are those things, plus, of course, the generous benefits that we do give.
I think we need to go further than that. The Refugee Convention itself is being misused by asylum seekers. Look, when it was first drafted, what it was meant for was if you're being persecuted by your government, suppose you're speaking out against the government, and then they're trying to kill you, you then flee to a safe country where you can claim asylum. That was the purpose of the convention. It's moved on from that, where even if you are in a civil conflict in a war-torn country, you've got a right to go to a safe third country, relying on the European Convention, because Article 2, Article 3 gives them that right, and claim asylum. I mean, that's not what the convention was about. I've been saying for years that we need to relook at that convention, what was its purpose, and why it's being mismanaged. People are claiming asylum because they're Christian converts, or they say they're now gay, which is among the reasons for claiming asylum. I mean, it's almost impossible to disprove these people because they didn't need no evidence other than their own testimony. So it's we need to look at the grounds for claiming asylum, whether they're still applicable in today's world, and whether we are open to entertain such applications.
OK, Ivan, really appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed. I think you made a very good point when you talked about our moral compass and what we're prepared to do. The thing is, moral compasses change, don't they?
Well, they certainly change when circumstances
People
become well, it looks like become untenable.
Yeah, people have had enough now, and therefore they're prepared to do more.
Yeah.
Which, on a harder line.
A Home Office spokesperson said, "We are furious at the level of illegal migrants and asylum hotels in this country. Public safety remains our first priority. We're working closely with local authorities, property partners and the local community as we transition away from using hotels."
Make of that what you will. Right, let's have a look at the weather with Tom.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. We've got further wet and windy weather on the way through today, but it will be turning much milder once again in the south. And it's a damp start to the day for many of us. Outbreaks of rain and drizzle across more southern parts of England and Wales, and the rain's especially heavy across parts of Northern Ireland today, where we do have a rain warning in place. The rain will continue to make its way slowly and steadily northeastwards across the UK through the course of today, so some pretty heavy bursts of rain through this afternoon across southern western parts of Scotland and northern England, and here after quite a cold start, feeling fairly chilly through this afternoon. Further south though, 13 or 14 degrees, but actually turning quite windy as we go into this afternoon with some coastal gales across southwestern parts of England. But across more northern parts of Scotland, after a dry start, the rain will arrive through this evening as well. Some particularly heavy rain coming into the central lowlands and the Lothians as well as we go towards the evening. But tending to turn a little bit drier across parts of Northern Ireland, so some clear spells developing here, and actually turning much drier across the vast majority of England and Wales by this evening with some clear spells, and staying mild and breezy as we go through the course of tonight. There will be a tendency for the showers to increase, so potentially a band of heavier and more general rain pushing its way in from the west into parts of Wales and western England as we go through the course of the night. Perhaps even the odd rumble of thunder and some hail mixed in with this, and some quite squally winds too. But it will be a mild night, temperatures actually not falling below double figures in the south, and even further north, lows of 5 or 6 degrees, so generally speaking a frost-free night to come. Now, Monday will be much brighter compared to on Sunday. There'll be some sunny spells for many parts of the UK, perhaps some longer spells of rain for parts of Scotland for a time. And there will be a scattering of showers elsewhere, but primarily in the north and the west, and actually some areas, mainly in the east, will stay largely dry. It will start to turn a little bit cloudier in the south later in the day, but temperatures are 13 or 14 degrees, so once again very mild.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
It is time for the Great British Giveaway now. Your chance to win our biggest cash prize of the year. It is an incredible £85,000, and here are the details.
We want to make the new year your best year yet, with a chance to win our greatest cash prize to date. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to splash on anything you can dream of. Treat the family to that bucket list holiday you've always fancied. Get your dream car you've always wanted. Or just relax, safe in the knowledge that the coming year is on us. £85,000 is the biggest cash prize we've ever given away. It's totally tax-free, which means that every single penny of it will be yours. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yeah, best of luck to you on that one. Still to come, as the Tories pledge to clamp down on eligibility for the Motability scheme, we'll debate whether taxpayers should be funding cars for people with mental health issues. That's next.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Nana Queer, weekends from 3 p.m.
And I'm going to start with you. Talk to me about autism and why you got involved with this, because some people don't know the story as to why you set up Anna Kennedy Online.
Well, I have two sons. They're now 32 and 35, and I'm proud to say that my eldest son, Patrick, is in Stockholm at the moment on his own, so that's like a big step for him to go on holiday, and he's loving it. So they both were diagnosed fairly young, and the support at the time was just non-existent. So we had to set up our own school, and then we set up a vocational college for my youngest son, Angelo.
Now, how do you know that they're autistic? Is there a blood test? Is it something where you have a list of symptoms? Or because some people say, oh, I've got ADHD and this and that, and I think sometimes people conflate it with autism. Are there parallels with the two, or are they totally separate? Because it's confusing.
They're very different from each other, both Patrick and Angelo. So Angelo was diagnosed fairly early at 2.5, 3. He passed all the milestones and then he just lost everything. His speech, eye contact, didn't want to be touched, didn't even want me to hug him at the time, running from one end of the room to the other, squealing, and it was just like, what is going on? And as a mum, you're thinking, what have I done wrong? Have I done something wrong?
Oh, no.
Patrick was diagnosed fairly early again, but he was premature, and I thought the difficulties that he was having because he was 11 weeks premature, I thought, is it because he had a bit of a difficult start, in and out of hospital. And then he was diagnosed at 4, and then we found out when he was 7, when he was struggling at school. He was finding school difficult, being bullied. So it's an autism spectrum condition, and if you feel that there might be, something that I'm not quite sure, I can't get a handle on it, please go and see your GP and just ask for your child to be assessed. But the difficulty at the minute is the waiting list is so long to get a diagnosis.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
7:26. Now, the Tories have pledged to tighten rules around a scheme designed to help disabled benefit claimants get cars through the welfare system.
They say that those with mental health issues like ADHD, mild depression and anxiety should not be eligible for the Motability scheme.
Is it fair? Or should taxpayers foot the bill to support funding cars for people with mental health issues?
Well, joining us to debate this, political commentator James Mathewson and former Conservative MP Neil Parish. Right, state your cases, gentlemen. Let's start with you, James.
Good morning. It's a strange conversation. I find that often the lens at which we look at this issue through is a little bit warped because people often mix up their benefits when they're talking about welfare. They often think that, these schemes like Motability, which is designed to work hand in hand with PIP, which is your personal independent payment, they think that has something to do with being out of work or not having money or being, impoverished. It has nothing to do with that. It's about the costs that come from being associated with a disability. Now, of course, in recent years, we've had all this kind of fuss kicked up a lot of the time by right-wingers. It's the same in America as it is here when talking about ADHD and autism. It's no coincidence that we see this government, even the Labour government, considering to crack down on these things because the rhetoric's been really strong against people who suffer from either neurological conditions or mental health conditions that may need them to access Motability as well. But there's no reason why those people should be blocked out of a scheme that ultimately they have to pay for. A lot of the time, people pay up front for their Motability car, sometimes in excess of $1,500, and then their PIP payment is sacrificed in exchange for having access to Motability, to a car which gives them freedom, gives them independence, and it gives them access to services that otherwise they might not have.
Neil, what do you think to that?
Well, I think the problem is that so many people that are working hard at the moment are just absolutely appalled by the amount of money spent generally on helping other people. And I think what this government has done is put up the cost of employment, made it more difficult for employers to bring on people. And of course, this is what is a lot of the problem, because mental health is people suffer from all types of mental health. I accept that, but you can't actually beat getting people back into work for your state of mind. And I think the problem. No, I think the problem is that everything this government's done at the moment is just actually made it more difficult to take on workers and make it more expensive. People are. I mean, look, if you talk to companies around here and small businesses, what they're doing is they're asking their workers to actually work longer hours, more overtime, rather than risk taking on more and more employees, especially, all right, the threat of the wrongful dismissal has now been gone from day one. But I mean, that was a crazy thing to bring in, because you're not going to risk employing people because if you want to get people in that haven't been employed for some time, who perhaps have some mental problems but would be able to work, you need to be able to have that flexibility. Everything this government's doing.
It's slightly off topic in a way, Neil. As you say, James, it's not about work, but then most of us would imagine, and I've got some family members who are on Motability scheme, but it's because they need a car that needs to be adapted for their needs. You're looking at physical problems, physical disabilities, and when you have to have cars specially adapted. Most people don't think that you would be eligible just because you have a mental condition.
No, often, I mean, children, for example, can be eligible for PIP, and the parents take responsibility of that. They can then exchange their PIP for a car that gives them access to being able to take that child to things that otherwise might be an impossibility. Anybody who has a child with learning difficulties, a child with, autism, a severe autism spectrum disorder, they may have real difficulty in getting that child from one place to another. But I've got to say one thing right here. This is the exact issue that we are facing in this country. You've got Neil there, who is a former member of Parliament, who clearly doesn't have a clue about this benefit, because he's talking about it in relation to work. People could be in full-time work and still be in receipt of PIP, because it is about the cost of their disability. It is not about anything to do with work. Universal Credit handles that separately, and he should know that because the Tories brought it in. But I will say, I find it absolutely staggering that in this day and age, in this country, we have absolutely no issue with things like £510 million a year being spent on the royal family. But when it comes to disabled people, the average cost of a PIP claim per year being £3,000. We have an issue with that.
And now, of course, we're coming to it's the other way again, because we're talking about mobility, about these Motability.
But the issue is this kind of the way that PIP is seen, and it is seen as if somebody is a freeloader or they're not working, and it's not
But
true.
I think we're talking specifically about this suddenly this huge diagnosis with mental health issues like ADHD and autism.
They're not mental health conditions.
Mental health conditions. Yes, but we're saying, I mean, at a time when, for example, we've got a top head in today's papers talking about the fact that the teenagers are being overdiagnosed with mental health conditions when it's just bumps in the road and people need to be a bit more resilient.
I think the sheer numbers. I think the sheer numbers that you have seen increase. Over 1 million people increased on it. I think people are asking that question. I think everybody accepts that people who are genuinely have mental problems should be helped. That's not the problem. The problem is that I do think there is overdiagnosis, and I do think sometimes it's very difficult, isn't it, for the medical profession to work out whether people are genuine or not, and that's the other issue. You can't blame hard-working people who are working, long hours, paying lots of taxes, if they resent having to pay too much in benefit. And
just very briefly, if we can just hear one final line from James, just a response to that.
again, we hear this language, hard-working people, as if disabled people aren't part of that category. It makes no sense. But I will say this language about mental health, ADHD, autism, they're nothing to do with mental health. They are not a condition that you all of a sudden pick up because you've, had depression or anxiety. These are actually neurological conditions. These are conditions that are in the wiring of the brain. I'm autistic. I was diagnosed when I was 20 years old. My brain is different to a neurotypical brain, and that's the way it works. And for different people, that affects them in different ways. So every diagnosis should be medical. I grant that, but medical professionals know what they're on about. People like Neil don't.
All right, well, there we must leave it. Neil Parrish, James Matthewson, thank you very much indeed. Appreciate your time this morning.
The time, 7:33, still to come. It's the decider in the desert. Lando Norris, Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri take on the battle for the Formula One world title. That's next.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, DC.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it. Don't get this on the BBC. Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
7:37, Aidan's here with the sport. Let's have a look, just very briefly, at Premier
Villa.
League, should we? Are Villa really in the title race now?
Oh, without question. I mean, there were doubts this time yesterday, but goodness me, they played Arsenal at home. Arsenal hadn't, I think they've lost once or maybe unbeaten in 18 games, something like that. I've seen them quite a lot recently, and they were outstanding. They've got the squad and everything. They went to Aston Villa yesterday. Didn't really perform, but Villa were excellent. They took a lead. They then won it 5 minutes in, or 6 minutes, I think it was, into added time. At the start of the season, Aston Villa, just to sum it up for you, they had, it was 4 games, no goals. They were in 19th place. Their manager, who formerly managed Arsenal, he took over from Arsene Wenger, Unai Emery, some years ago. He has gone into Villa and he's presided over a general upturn, a massive upturn over the last 3 or 4 years. But this season particularly, to have them where they are now, third in the table, just 3 points off the pace. Arsenal, all playing 15 games. Man City are in there as well. They won 3-0 against Sunderland yesterday. Chelsea dropped points down at Bournemouth. But what do I always say? We like a race. We like competition. And talking of competition, we've got exactly that.
Oh, what a day.
In the F1 today in Abu Dhabi. I want to bring in Philip Duncan from Press Association. Philip, welcome to GB News. I just want to ask you about the day as a whole, because if you wouldn't mind, can you give us some permutations? What does Lando Norris have to do to secure that title?
Yep, so Lando Norris is starting second today in Abu Dhabi, and if he finishes there, he'll win the World Championship, his first World Championship, following in the footsteps of the likes of Lewis Hamilton, Sir Jackie Stewart, Damon Hill, all those sort of guys, all those legends in F1. But he's got Max Verstappen, who's his chief rival, starting ahead of him on pole. Norris guards a 12-point lead going into this race, so the advantage is with him. But as I say, Verstappen's on pole, and then the other guy that's in the championship race, Oscar Piastri, he starts third. So you've got 3 championship contenders, and they're all lining 1, 2, and 3 on the grid today in Abu Dhabi, and it all starts at 1 o'clock UK time. So it should be a great race.
And Philip, what would it mean for Lando Norris to seal the deal and get this done today? Because not many people were really tipping him last summer. I heard Piastri was tipped. We thought that Verstappen would be in there, of course, because he won the previous 4. And all the talk as well was about Lewis Hamilton in the red of Ferrari. What's gone wrong for him? And what would it mean overall for Lando Norris to do it today?
Yeah, it would obviously be a huge moment for Lando Norris in his career, in his life. And as I say, he would become the 11th British world champion, as I say, following in the likes of Hamilton and all those sort of British legends that have been before. So, yeah, a huge day for him. He looked pretty nervous yesterday. He looked nervous all weekend, actually. I think he can feel the weight of history on his shoulders, and he's the man that they're trying to catch. He's the one being hunted. So all the pressure, in a way, is on him. He's got the most to lose, and he even said that earlier on in the week here in Abu Dhabi. So, yeah, huge day for him. And if he gets it over the line, I think you'll see a huge amount of emotion and relief from him, because it'll be such a big moment in his life. And as for Lewis Hamilton, the guy who used to win all these championships, and he won 7 world championships, a record equaling 7 with Michael Schumacher. But his move from Mercedes to Ferrari just hasn't worked out, and he starts 16th here today. Another bad qualifying for him on what's been a really poor season.
Just finally, Philip, how important will psychology be today? Because you mentioned that Norris has kind of shown a few signs of nerves in the last couple of weeks, although I'd say that his team were probably to blame for most of the problems in the last 2 races.
Yeah, I think it certainly will be. I mean, as I say, he's looked a bit nervous this week, and the guy he's going up against, Max Verstappen, is the one who's won 4 world championships. So he's been there, done it, got the t-shirt, and he doesn't seem nervous at all. He seems super relaxed, and as I say, all the pressure's on Norris. So I think if he gets through this unscathed and wins the world championship, it will be a huge relief for him. But as I say, I think the nerves going into this race for him will be huge. And obviously there'll be a lot of tactics at play, because if Verstappen wins and Norris finishes second, that won't be enough for Verstappen. So he'll try everything to try and make sure Norris goes further back down the pack. So we could be in for some dark arts and some fun in Abu Dhabi.
Philip Duncan from the Press Association, thanks very much indeed for joining us on GB News this morning. Great to hear your insights. 1 p.m. today at Abu Dhabi, or in Abu Dhabi. Go on, Penny.
No, sorry, I wanted to
move back. This is
MotoGP.
about MotoGP.
No, it isn't about MotoGP, although I do find it much more exciting, as you know. No, this is a question which listeners on the radio will not know. But when I was looking at the pictures of Villa versus Arsenal, I noticed that they all appeared to be wearing in some form of burgundy. And I was thinking...
I think it's red. I think it's a sort of claret red.
All right, hold on a second.
It's on the screen, there we go.
Hold on a second. All I'm saying is that there's a large spread of burgundy when I know that Arsenal normally play in red. And I was just thinking, if I was being... Oh, look, and there is somebody in red. Hold on a second. Right, OK.
That's the keeper in orange.
So, OK. Right, so all I was going to say is that if I was racing around on the pitch and I was doing a quick pass to somebody, I would be slightly confused, particularly because you're having to look at their socks.
Well, it is a bone of contention, actually, when they play against claret and blue teams because they've got a blue away kit, which probably doesn't work against claret and blue. Also, the key things from an official's point of view, VAR referee, is the colour of the shorts and the socks, because that's how you delineate where the offside marks are. But, you know, we're seeing offside given on shoulders and shirt sleeves now. So
Right.
it's just important.
Focus below the waist,
Yeah.
Penny.
Good.
Really?
That's
Thank
what you
you
need
so
to do.
much.
So good point,
My
well made.
goodness.
Thank you. Also, why don't they make more use of the other colours in the ranges? I mean, you could have lilac and
Yes.
peach and those sort of
Ecru.
things, which wouldn't exactly O'Donnell, and you could actually make it a darn sight easier to go and play away. Are you OK, Stephen?
I'm sorry, I can't see a team playing in O'Donnell as
lovely colour.
lovely as it is. Right, we need to go because we've got the papers with Lewis and Emma in just a moment. Here they are. First, though, is your European forecast.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. It's still pretty unsettled in the eastern Mediterranean over the next few days. There will be some heavy showers and thunderstorms around too. But across Iberia and actually most of the Canary Islands and Madeira, it's largely fine, and there'll be plenty of sunshine on Monday. Just a few showers for northwestern parts of Spain and Portugal. Sunny for most of Italy too, but we run into more in the way of showers and stronger winds pushing down across parts of Greece and into Turkey. But overall, over the next few days, there's lots of sunshine to be enjoyed, and it will feel fairly warm.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
I think a lot of you at home are going to be quite annoyed with this. Now, Tesco, the big supermarket chain, appears to have got rid of the famous Christmas trees, instead renaming them Evergreen
trees.
Evergreen
There's
trees.
the evergreen tree.
Here we are. So if you're listening on the radio, these are pictures of their boxes of artificial Christmas trees without the word Christmas on them at all, instead calling them evergreen trees. There are still a number of Christmas trees available called Christmas trees.
Christmas trees,
but I think it has clearly annoyed quite a lot of people. Why do you call them evergreen trees? Can't you just call them Christmas?
Just call them Christmas trees. I call them Christmas trees even outside of the time of Christmas. If they look like a Christmas tree, I call them a Christmas tree, don't you?
Yeah, I do. And the Conservative leader of the London Assembly, Susan Hall, she's told The Telegraph, it's Christmas. It's a Christmas tree. People don't tend to put up green plastic fir trees for any other reason. It's all stupid nonsense about offending other people and other religions. Well, below that, this is supposed to be a Christian country. We have Christmas. Let's celebrate it, says Susan Hall.
Actually, other religions are not offended by the celebration of Christmas in a Christian country. You speak to Hindus and Buddhists and the vast majority of Muslims, they're not in the slightest bit bothered and actually will join in those celebrations as well. It doesn't offend them. But what you've got are marketing divisions within these big companies where you've got Tarquin and Tabitha who feel that we must, you know, do what we can do to not offend the great British public. When the great British public are the ones that are actually buying the product and they're not in the slightest bit offended.
Can I just say it offends me that we've got Christmas already and it's not December.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Now, Now, joining us to go through what is making the news in the papers, writer and journalist Emma Wolfe and podcaster and journalist Lewis Oakley. And let us start off, Lewis, with this is a story. This is in most of the papers today, but you've gone for the Mail, which has done the biggest story on this.
Yes, so this is Meghan Markle's father sending a plea that he wants to speak to his daughter. He's obviously in hospital, very unwell. We're told he's had to have part of his leg amputated. And I mean, you see this and you just think it's so sad to see this playing out across the front pages. This is, for me, this is the definition of none of our business. This is a private family matter. I mean, he's the one that's gone to the press. And I've got to say, if I were in Meghan's shoes and my dad had gone to the press rather than speak to me, I'd be furious and probably not speak to him. And I think there are a lot of people that don't like Meghan, and I think that this is almost pointed at trying to say, oh, you know, see, you know, her father's in hospital and she's not even visiting him. And it's like, we don't know what's gone on. We don't know what's gone on between these two people. It's none of our business. A lot of people don't speak to their families. That doesn't make them bad people. It's a private matter.
Emma.
Yeah, look, we know that Thomas Markle is not publicity averse, but I think that it's this felt so intrusive to me, and I think it's very telling that even the Mail on Sunday have to put under that photo on the front page, Thomas Markle asked us to publish this photo. They put that on the front page because he's lying in his hospital bed. He looks not well at all. He's got a sort of stump, which is actually his arm. But anyway, we know he's just had part of his lower leg amputated. This is appalling timing for Meghan. She's literally just launched her new Netflix show, With Love Meghan, a festive special, which focuses on being with family, you know, love, surrounding yourself with family. This is very bad timing for her. They've had this terrible fallout. And as you say, Lewis, family feuds, family estrangements are very private and very painful. Yeah. Most families have experienced something along these lines. As well, nobody knows the truth. I'm not a fan of Harry and Meghan, but I do think this crosses a line. Even the Mail on Sunday, I think this one crosses a line, although...
I think we're all in the same boat in the sense that I'm not a fan of Harry and Meghan, and yet I've seen various other people online and things have launched these huge attacks into Meghan, saying how awful she is, she won't see her poor father, blah.
We don't know.
We just don't know.
We don't know what's gone on. We know that there was an issue before the wedding in 2018. He went to the papers. She wasn't happy about that. And
he has seemed to want to milk it.
But so have they, you know, fleeing the UK for their privacy, and then both of them doing Netflix specials. Yeah. Both of them estranged from their families. The one thing for sure, and then I'll shut up, Lewis, the one thing for sure is the way to end a family feud is not to go to the papers. Yeah. Same thing when Harry came over for his tete-a-tete, his heart-to-heart with his father, King Charles. That is not the way to do it. It needs to be in private, doesn't it? Yeah, in person.
I was just going to see what you guys thought of, obviously, Harry got a lot of flack because this happened, and then he went on an American talk show, and people had a lot of criticism for him. But just going on, I don't know. I mean, to be fair, if you have a work commitment, and, you know, we've all had family in hospital and you still have to work, I guess you could... Is what he's doing work? I don't know.
Well, it is work.
But I think it was the night... I think it was the night later, actually.
Right, OK.
And also, I don't, the same as you. The day my father died, I went and did you know, you will still work. I mean, it doesn't mean you don't care. Yeah. If you work.
So we're all rarely aligned on leaving Harry and Meghan alone.
Really.
Oh, look at that.
We will be aligned on the Mail on Sunday story, Emma, about MPs who live quite close to Parliament but can still claim 30 grand a year.
I mean, really close. These are outer London MPs in places like Kent who are commuting in, quite easy to get into London, 35-minute kind of commute, which I'm sure many viewers do a longer commute than that every day. Do you remember the expenses scandal of 2009?
Oh,
those heady days.
Was that the duck moat?
Yeah, all of that. Five Labour and 2 Tory MPs were actually jailed for that, and they were flipping their homes and they were designating primary residence as second homes and all of that. After that, there was a kind of ruling that they could claim around £6,000 or £7,000 as a London waiting, but that they couldn't claim a second home if they were within, you know, outer London. Now, quietly, IPSA have changed their mind, and many MPs are going to be able to claim that £30,000 for a second home to rent out a flat in London, even though they live in places like, I think it's kind of Surrey, Epsom and Ewell in Surrey, Dartford in Kent, St Albans in Hertfordshire.
Can I just say, briefly, can I just say very briefly, if you have to be there until 10:30, 11 at night, You can't get a flipping train for love nor money. You really can't, and that is part of your MP duties. So I do think there is an aspect.
Well, my angle would be, well, fix the transport network. Like, this should be motivation rather than us spending our taxes on getting you an expensive flat in London. Because let's face it, there are no cheap flats in London. Why don't you guys put your heads together and try and fix the transport network so you can get back home?
Or I actually think there could be an argument for having kind of flats where they can stay, like a block of something or other.
Get them some halls of residence.
A block of travel lodges, or even flipping the bed so one comes in late, the other one rolls out of bed and goes to work.
Oh, yeah, nice idea.
There's got to be cheaper ways of doing this than them renting a second home. There are many people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they'll leave you there.
Yeah, it's not far. I travel farther than that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Ridiculous.
Emma and Lewis, thank you. See you later.
All right, let's have a look at the weather for you this morning with Tom Morgan.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. We've got further wet and windy weather on the way through today, but it will be turning much milder once again in the south. And it's a damp start to the day for many of us. Outbreaks of rain and drizzle across more southern parts of England and Wales, and the rain's especially heavy across parts of Northern Ireland today, where we do have a rain warning in place. The rain will continue to make its way slowly and steadily northeastwards across the UK through the course of today, so some pretty heavy bursts of rain through this afternoon across southern western parts of Scotland and northern England. And here, after quite a cold start, feeling fairly chilly through this afternoon. Further south, though, 13 or 14 degrees, but actually turning quite windy as we go into this afternoon, with some coastal gales across southwestern parts of England. But across more northern parts of Scotland, after a dry start, the rain will arrive through this evening as well. Some particularly heavy rain coming into the central lowlands and the Lothians as well as we go towards the evening. But tending to turn a little bit drier across parts of Northern Ireland, so some clear spells developing here, and actually turning much drier across the vast majority of England and Wales by this evening, with some clear spells, and staying mild and breezy as we go through the course of tonight. There will be a tendency for the showers to increase, so potentially a band of heavier and more general rain pushing its way in from the west into parts of Wales and western England as we go through the course of the night. Perhaps even the odd rumble of thunder and some hail mixed in with this, and some quite squally winds too. But it will be a mild night, temperatures actually not falling below double figures in the south, and even further north, lows of 5 or 6 degrees, so generally speaking, a frost-free night to come. Now, Monday will be much brighter compared to on Sunday. There'll be some sunny spells for many parts of the UK, perhaps some longer spells of rain for parts of Scotland for a time. And there will be a scattering of showers elsewhere, but primarily in the north and the west, and actually some areas, mainly in the east, will stay largely dry. It will start to turn a little bit cloudier in the south later in the day, but temperatures are 13 or 14 degrees, so once again, very mild.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
We want to make the new year your best year yet, with a chance to win our greatest cash prize to date. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Treat the family to that bucket list holiday you've always fancied. Get your dream car you've always wanted. Or just relax, safe in the knowledge that the coming year is on us. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been where we are going and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock, only on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
We love Great Britain. We love its history, its culture and its tradition, and that's why we're so proud to be part of GB News.
You look genuinely emotional. Oh, come here.
GB News does pay attention to those who are ignored by the mainstream media. The majority of this country whose forefathers fought and died to maintain liberty, to fight for freedom of speech.
The rule of law, the rights of property and democracy. This is the heritage that our country should be so proud of.
Which of course includes our Christian heritage. There's been a huge resurgence in the number of people going to church. Perhaps they're not finding what they're looking for, and they're looking for something a bit deeper, a bit more truthful, a bit more akin to Britain's Christian heritage.
That's right, get ready, because the most exciting night in general election history starts now!
Good morning. The Prime Minister unleashes a new attack on Reform UK.
Sir Keir Starmer hits out at what he calls division and admits he is worried about the future of Britain if Reform was elected.
He's also confirmed talks with the EU about a new youth mobility scheme and says Angela Rayner will make a return to the Cabinet.
Are raped in our country tonight, that you might be waiting until 2028, 2029 for a hearing.
The Justice Secretary David Lammy is accused of misrepresenting rape case figures in what critics call a cynical push to scrap jury trials.
Thomas Markle breaks his silence from his hospital bed, urging his daughter Meghan to reconcile, saying he doesn't want to die estranged.
Smorgasbord of misery we just heard from her can be summed up in one sentence. Labour are hiking taxes to pay for welfare. This is a budget for Benefit Street, Madam Deputy Speaker, paid for by working people.
As the Conservatives pledge to clamp down on eligibility for the Motability scheme, we've been asking whether taxpayers should be funding cars for people with mental health issues.
The King and Queen unveiled this year's Christmas card featuring a portrait of them as they celebrated their 20th wedding anniversary.
Thousands of people will descend on Liverpool streets today as they partake in Britain's biggest festive fun run, the Santa Dash.
Liverpool's Mo Salah has ignited a civil war at Anfield by accusing his manager Arne Slot of throwing him under the bus, hinting that he's played his last game for the club. He says he has no relationship with Dutchman. We'll have more later this hour. In F1, it's all eyes on Lando Norris as he stands on the verge of glory. And in the Ashes, England shows signs of defiance on day 3 of the second test in Brisbane, but it looks like it'll all be in vain.
Are you fed up of the rain? Find out if there's any dry weather on the way in your full forecast coming up.
It's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Penny Smith and this is GB News Breakfast.
Penny's goat has been got.
It has. My goat was on its hind legs, front hooves, flailing all over the place. I went to the theatre last night, as is my wont. I was on the escalator coming up from the tube, and the people in front of me, or walking up the left-hand side.
Yes.
People at the top, 2 of them, either side, stopped as they got off the escalator. What was I expected to do, Steve?
I don't know.
Stephen, I know, but I was just getting
Yes.
all...
Excitable.
I know, I almost didn't actually remember your name. You could have been Audrey.
I could have been anybody. I don't know, it's enough to drive you mad. Why don't they have the sense on the tube?
Just walk off.
You just keep going.
Don't just stand there.
There's also a forward momentum, isn't there? A natural forward momentum. Have you experienced
I'm afraid I actually did the thing of grasping them.
Did you?
Well, I did. I couldn't do anything else. I thought, what am I supposed to do? Jog on the spot here until you've moved off?
Well,
So I actually went like this, moved them slightly forwards, and they looked like this. Startled goats, and I kind of went...
Were they tourists?
I'm afraid they were.
Oh, well, there you go, you see.
Yes, but I like tourists, because, of course, the good thing about tourists is that they keep the shops open, they're bringing the money and everything else, but just move off the
You've got to employ some common sense. Maybe they got to the top of the tube, the escalator, and they were just overwhelmed by the beauty of our tube stations. So look at this. It's like being in Moscow.
Yeah, some of the artwork.
Yeah, some of the rubbish.
Yes. Oh, well, there you go. Well, I say push them out the way and carry on.
Thank you. I've sort of firmly moved them, I think, is how I would describe it. Anyway, there we go.
You wouldn't want to be firmly moved by Penny Smith.
No, you wouldn't. It's like a Tonka toy coming through.
Anyway, look, the Prime Minister's been moved, we have to say, to give an interview to The Observer this morning where he's unleashed an attack on Reform UK and says he's worried about the possibility of a Nigel Farage government.
In a wide-ranging interview with The Observer, Sir Keir Starmer claims the party would tear communities apart and undermine, in his words, who we are as a country.
He also confirmed the government is seeking to strike a new deal on youth mobility with the European Union, meaning our youth can go over there, but, of course, theirs can come here.
Well, let's get more with political commentator Jennifer Powers, who joins us in the studio. I tell you what, all the parties seem to spend so long talking about reform that there actually isn't much time left over to talk about anything else. I mean, do you remember the Lib Dems conference where they were even handing out Lego figures of Nigel Farage? And now we've got Keir Starmer. I mean, you could argue, why talk about reform? Just actually don't talk about them, do a good job, and people will stop looking to reform.
Well, indeed. I think, given the lack of progress of this government, perhaps it's a bit of a diversion for him to attack Reform, who has been leading in the polls for so long. In some polls, Labour is now in 4th place, behind not just Reform and the Conservatives, but the Greens as well, who he does make a little sideswipe in the interview.
Yeah, he says they're nuts.
Says they're nuts, which... on closer inspection of the Greens' portfolio of policies, one may reasonably come to that conclusion. I wonder what their latest position is on pets, because traditionally they've been, obviously the party of the environment.
So anti-pets.
And if you take that far enough, I know you look shocked, but
right, I didn't know they had a policy on pets.
Well, I'm not sure they have a policy, but when you meet real committed Green politicians or activists.
Right.
Obviously, traditionally what drove them before Zach Polanski got involved and it became more of a left-wing progressive outfit was the concern about the planet and about the environment. And the thing about pets is they eat a lot of pet food and you have to grow and produce the pet food.
Yeah, but children also continue to grow and eat a lot of food, and then they go on to have other children and fly around.
They're not huge on having a lot of humans around either.
OK.
So, yeah, so that, if the Greens develop that policy, we love our cats and dogs, we love our pets.
Yes.
I'm not sure they've ever said that publicly, but one does wonder about, because they're very concerned about overpopulation, about the sustainability of the planet. So I am a little bit, as a pet lover, I'm a little bit suspicious of the Green portfolio of policies,
we'll have
the platform.
To look into that one.
Yeah, so if you get a Green politician on, please do ask.
Well, we'd love to have Zach Polanski on.
Policy on pets.
We will ask if he would agree to come on.
But I know you asked me about Labour, so we can talk about that.
Well, actually, before, because let's just bring in a little bit of breaking news we're getting, actually, which you can respond to, Jennifer, because thousands of migrants may have been given visas despite failing mandatory English language tests. Now, this is because there's been a mistake over marking. The Telegraph are reporting that up to 80,000 people sitting a language test run by the British Council were given the wrong results, meaning many of them were passed even though they'd actually failed.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously that means migrants are poor cost of English
of a failing state, isn't it? If we can't even mark the English papers correctly. But hopefully they'll be recalled and maybe given another opportunity to take the test.
But if they've already been given the visa...
Then that means they're cleared.
They're sort of through, aren't they?
Well, I don't know. I mean, one would hope that they would reassess them and they would withdraw the visa if they needed to. But
I think we've got to see.
Yes, a spokesperson for the English language testing system said we recently identified an issue that led to a small proportion of test takers getting the wrong results. Between August 2023 and September 2025, over 99% of the tests were unaffected. And there's no issue with the current tests.
Right. Well, it's quite a long period of time they didn't notice
that
80,000
something was
people
going
is
wrong.
quite a lot, yes.
I think having English language skills is incredibly important. How are people going to take part in the labour market? How are they going to, really
integrate into
society if they can't speak the language? And that's not to say they have to be absolutely fluent, but they have to have a basic level. And I think that, especially if they're coming in on what might be a work visa, one would expect them to have a basic level of fluency. So obviously, as someone who immigrated to this country 30 years ago, I didn't have the language issue, but I did have to sit the citizenship test.
Which I think a lot of people who are born and brought up here probably would fail.
Well, you say that. I remember this very well because there was a part of you got a little booklet, or at least you did back then, and there was all about the history. And I love history. I love British history, and so even though I knew a lot of it, I still learned a lot by reading this foreword to the book. And I got And I got in, and then when we took the test, I said, "Oh, you won't be tested on any of the history questions." And I was like, "Oh, that was the best bit." So I was very disappointed. And then it turned out that the questions were about the currency. Can you recognise different coins? And and then it was basically about benefits. It was about how do you claim benefits. Now it might have changed. That was 30 years ago. Maybe slightly less. I guess I got citizenship in. Not 2014, so it would be just over a decade ago. But at that point, yes, there was lots of questions about how do you... And I thought, I don't know the answer to this because I've never tried claiming these benefits.
If we can just come back to the language test, this is a failure which will be more grist to the mill of reform, isn't it?
Well, it will, and reform does best when these sort of news stories happen, whether it's the small boats, whether it's concerns about asylum hotels, whether it's the state failing on its sort of basic tasks around visas and language requirements. I think that's really what propelled reform to get into the mid-20s.
Yeah,
they've fallen back slightly because we've been talking about the budget endlessly for 2 months.
It's interesting because this obviously falls over two governments this time period, but nevertheless, it's another stick to hit the government with.
Of a failing state, isn't it? That we can't even get the basics right.
Can we just very briefly talk about this Sunday Telegraph? You've got the front page there. Unionised Labour... what's the next part? Exit over
Starmer. Yeah, and I think this story in the Sunday Telegraph and elsewhere this morning really relates to what we spoke about earlier in today's programme around Starmer's big interview in The Observer with Rachel Sylvester, trying to kind of share his mission for the country and what motivates him, and trying to throw down the gauntlet and say, gloves are off, I'm not going anywhere. Well, why has he moved to do that? Better late than never, some may say. Well, Unite, who's the biggest union backer of the Labour Party, is considering disaffiliating with the party, which, considering it's one of their, not just the main backers, but funds the Labour Party to a huge extent. Yeah, a huge donor. And they want, someone different. And so maybe threatening to pull their support would...
that'd be huge.
It would be huge, but it would also perhaps, bring forward Keir Starmer's downfall. It says they will coalesce around an alternative figure on the left. Of course, Angela Rayner is one of the first that comes to mind because she notoriously has very strong relationships with the unions. But it could be somebody else. So, we think back, not everyone may remember, but there was a leader of the Conservative Party many years ago called Ian Duncan Smith, if you go back. And, he ultimately resigned from leader of the party because the donors came to him and just said, look, the party's existing on a shoestring, and the little money that you are getting, we're all going to just stop. And so he had no choice. That was the reality. And so it feels like something similar is going on here with this major union backer, Unite, threatening to pull support for Labour, wanting to get their own candidate in Downing Street. So that's one to watch, I think.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I find particular, and it's of no political import, but this idea, I mean, it says it's referred to as the son of a toolmaker.
It does,
in this piece. I mean, as if we didn't all know that. Because that was wheeled out so often it became a meme, didn't it? But then he also talks about his father's detachment. My dad had no emotional space for us children, which I find extraordinary when he sort of used his dad as this point to say, I'm an ordinary person, Dad was a toolmaker, but then to effectively say in this interview, we didn't really have a relationship with my dad.
I think it's quite sad.
It is sad, but it's just odd. It's like it's been used as a prop.
Yeah, I think this is part of Keir Starmer's challenge in that he does seem a very private person. And so then when he does open up and share these things, we sort of don't know how to take them. We don't know how to react because it feels so out of character. I had a slightly smile when I read the interview because he talks about the change of being Prime Minister and what and it is a change, right? You're in the glare, you get all this criticism. You're in Downing Street, which is this weird kind of hybrid working environment of your house and your office. And talking about what he missed most, solitary walks. Now, many of us enjoy a good walk, but I just thought it was it really showed his personality. That really came through. That the thing that he missed most was walking
solitary
alone,
walks without security service following behind.
It's a bit like Theresa May running through fields of corn, being very naughty and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, politicians by nature are a bit odd, right? Who'd want that job?
Jennifer, I don't know how to follow on from that one. All the politicians we talked to. Thank you.
Good to see you both.
Yeah, Jennifer Powers. Now, hundreds of people are expected to protest on the streets of Crowborough again today. This is against plans to house 600 migrants in the town's army barracks.
Well, former Prime Minister Liz Truss spoke about all of this to The Late Show Live last night, concerned as we know she is about immigration. This is her solution.
The Human Rights Act has to be abolished. That was the big mistake of the Conservative government, was not repealing all of the Tony Blair laws that created all these problems. The Human Rights Act, the Bank of England Act, the Climate Change Act, they all need to go. And we also need new people running the civil service.
Well, a little earlier, an international security and border control expert told us more about the specific issues in Crowborough.
I mean, in the UK, once you're in, then effectively it's a clear road. Despite recent changes in government policy, it's a clear road to indefinite leave to remain and citizenship, which I find bizarre. I've always found it bizarre, and I know our European colleagues find it quite bizarre. So, we can address a lot of that through internal legislation, but I think, those countries that are on the route for these people who try to get here, particularly the people who come across on the small boats, I mean, those are countries that don't give you that path to indefinite leave to remain and citizenship, and it's one of the reasons that they carry on all the way through to the United Kingdom. But when it comes to Crowborough, that's a different problem. I mean, they are related, of course they are, but the problem with Crowborough is a lack of forward planning on the part of this government and the previous one. We know that we've got these people coming, and as long as the government doesn't do something of the sort that we're talking about, plus reform our maritime border agencies to make sure that they're working more efficiently, as long as the government doesn't do that, and these boats are still going to come, and as long as these boats still come, we're going to have to accommodate these people. Now, we are, in some way, shape or form, that is going to be at the taxpayer's expense. So what is, how are we going to deal with that? And the government's got some serious sort of strategic questions to ask. Are we going to stop these boats? Are we really serious about this? Because at the moment, it doesn't look as though they are. If we are not, then we've got to have a sustainable, long-term solution to the accommodation of these people. It is no good putting them in hotels, renting accommodation, or taking up army or military training establishments or training bases like Crowborough, which actually then denies the military those facilities. And with the present military environment in Eastern Europe, and every other country in Europe apart from ours ramping up its military capability, at some point we're going to decide that we want to play catch up. But then we're going to look at our estate, the military estate, and go, it's full of asylum seekers. We've got nowhere to train people. The whole thing is down to a total lack of clarity of purpose. What is it the government wants to do, and how do you do it at a strategic level? It's all missing, and that links the ECHR.
But Henry, where are we now? I mean, I'm intrigued by Liz Truss's sort of intervention in this, because she says, well, the Tories should have got rid of the ECHR. She wants to bypass the fact she was leading them for a short period of time. But the Tories have already said they're going to get rid of the ECHR if they get in, and stricter controls and all of this. Reform, we know their position, which is even harder on this. And the Labour government would turn around and say, well, we are introducing these Danish-style rules. Now, you might not think they go far enough, but it is certainly a step in that direction. So is Liz Truss bringing anything to the table here?
No, I don't think she is, except to continue the momentum of political debate relating to whether we stay or not within the convention, the ECHR. But the present government is not doing enough. You're right, I don't think it is. But it's doing enough to make some people think it's at least doing something.
That was Henry Bolton there.
Yeah, well, a Home Office spokesperson has said, we are furious at the level of illegal migrants and asylum hotels in this country. Public safety is our first priority. We're working closely with local authorities, property partners and the local community as we transition away from using hotels. But that's only solves part of the problem.
I know.
It solves the hotel problem, but then they're still being put somewhere else, which is upsetting local communities.
Elsewhere. Exactly. Just moving it elsewhere. 20 past, almost 20 past 8. Let's get a check on the weather with Tom Morgan.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. We've got further wet and windy weather on the way through today, but it will be turning much milder once again in the south. And it's a damp start to the day for many of us. Outbreaks of rain and drizzle across more southern parts of England and Wales, and the rain's especially heavy across parts of Northern Ireland today, where we do have a rain warning in place. The rain will continue to make its way slowly and steadily northeastwards across the UK through the course of today, so some pretty heavy bursts of rain through this afternoon across southern western parts of Scotland and northern England, and here after quite a cold start, feeling fairly chilly through this afternoon. Further south though, 13 or 14 degrees, but actually turning quite windy as we go into this afternoon, with some coastal gales across southwestern parts of England. But across more northern parts of Scotland, after a dry start, the rain will arrive through this evening as well. Some particularly heavy rain coming into the central lowlands and the Lothians as well as we go towards the evening. But tending to turn a little bit drier across parts of Northern Ireland, so some clear spells developing here, and actually turning much drier across the vast majority of England and Wales by this evening, with some clear spells, and staying mild and breezy as we go through the course of tonight. There will be a tendency for the showers to increase, so potentially a band of heavier and more general rain pushing its way in from the west into parts of Wales and western England as we go through the course of the night. Perhaps even the odd rumble of thunder and some hail mixed in with this, and some quite squally winds too. But it will be a mild night, temperatures actually not falling below double figures in the south, and even further north, lows of 5 or 6 degrees, so generally speaking a frost-free night to come. Now, Monday will be much brighter compared to on Sunday. There'll be some sunny spells for many parts of the UK, perhaps some longer spells of rain for parts of Scotland for a time. And there will be a scattering of showers elsewhere, but primarily in the north and the west, and actually some areas, mainly in the east, will stay largely dry. It will start to turn a little bit cloudier in the south later in the day, but temperatures are 13 or 14 degrees, so once again, very mild.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
How do you fancy starting 2026 with £85,000 in your pocket? It could be yours. It's our biggest ever cash prize. Here's how you enter the competition.
This is your chance to become our biggest cash prize winner to date with an incredible £85,000 to be won. That's right, £85,000 in totally tax-free cash could be making its way from our bank account to yours. It would be like having over £7,000 per month extra to play with each month for a whole year. That could be you, with your feet up, safe in the knowledge that 2026 is on us. £85,000 is a massive amount of money, and it could be yours. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Still to come on the show, the King and Queen reveal this year's Christmas card with a touching tribute to their marriage.
And Thomas Markle breaks his silence. We'll tell you more in a moment.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Excited about this because our most successful female Olympian of all time, Dame Laura Kenny, who also happens to be a Tottenham Hotspur fan, which also makes me extremely happy as well. 5 Olympic gold medals, is with us. Hello, Laura.
Hello, how are you?
I'm really good. Lovely to see you. Listen, did you do the, of course, with all the medals and you and Jason and everything, did you ever do the actual carrying the torch?
I have never carried an Olympic torch. Nope.
That's the only Olympic thing probably you've never done, and I managed to pick up on it. What was your favourite Olympic? Because there was 3. We've got 2 medals in each. Do you have a favourite? It must be London 2012, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the most obvious one is London, right? I mean, I just think it was, as cliche as it sounds, it was a dream come true.
Oh, and on home turf as well.
It was, yeah. And I mean, I obviously grew up around there, so for me, it was just so special. I had so many people there.
At what point, is there a point though, because I love this with all sports people, and especially when there's all these amazing moments that they go through and when you retire as well, if there was one moment, if there's something or some moment, not even a race, but a part of a race, or is it a moment when you collect your first gold medal or the last one that stays with you more than anything else? What would that be?
Yeah, I think it was getting the medal, the very first medal. I mean, it was just, I felt like I was living in someone else's life. And really randomly, Paul McCartney was in there and he started singing Hey Jude. And that is like just stuck in my head because thousands of people randomly started singing Hey Jude.
My goodness.
Wow, what a story.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Now, Meghan Markle's father, Thomas, has issued an emotional plea to his daughter, saying he doesn't want to die estranged.
Yes, he made the appeal from his hospital bed after having his leg amputated below the knee.
Well, he's been talking to the Mail on Sunday, which obviously isn't going to go down well with his daughter. He said he was confused by reports that Meghan had reached out to him following his health scare.
She says, the Duchess of Sussex says she did email her father after the surgery.
Well, away from all of that, the King and Queen have revealed their official Christmas card.
Featuring a photo of the royal couple with their arms intertwined at the British ambassador's residence in Rome as they celebrated their 20th wedding anniversary.
Let's talk to former royal photographer Ian Lloyd. Let's start off with that picture, Ian. That's your area of expertise. It's a beautiful shot.
Great picture, isn't it? Yeah, and it was taken in April when they were in Italy on a state visit, and of course it's just a year since the April of 24 when the King came back into public life after having a cancer treatment. So yeah, it's a really nice picture, isn't it? And they look like a kind of loving couple. And she's got this lily of the valley brooch, which apparently means everlasting love in symbolism.
I love the fact that the Queen, because the former Queen, Queen Elizabeth, always had a brooch that said more than she did.
Oh yeah, I mean, quite often I would see the Queen, the late Queen, wearing brooches that belonged to her mother. So if there was something like the racing or something that was appropriate for, you know, the late Queen mother, then she would wear it. There's lots of symbolism in that kind of thing. Yeah, certainly. So that's quite a nice one.
It's interesting that, I mean, of late, we've seen certainly more of the King being much less formal than he used to be when it comes to these sort of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing you notice is the statements. So when the Pope died, for instance, the Pope Francis, the King wrote a very long tribute to him, whereas the late Queen would just put out a statement saying she was greatly saddened to hear he'd died. The King is a very emotional man, and he's very the monarchy generally sort of unwinding, if you like, being less formal, which is appropriate for the times, really, I think.
Yeah, when you're taking photographs, would this have been, by the way, a royal photographer who'd have taken that photograph, or would it? Because nowadays, quite often, it seems to me that it's people within the royal family taking the photographs and releasing them.
This is Chris Jackson, who is a press photographer, but he's one of their favoured ones. He does quite a lot. He took a balcony shot from inside the palace of the King and Queen at the coronation, looking out at the public. You know, so he has access. But yeah, he's a press photographer, so he's not done in-house as such. But he was invited into the grounds of the ambassador's house to photograph them. So obviously it was pre-arranged. It wasn't a general photo call, which quite often used to happen.
Can we have a quick word about the Markles then? Thomas Markle giving this statement to the Mail on Sunday. I mean, look, it's not necessarily, as we've been saying all morning, that we've got much sympathy with Harry and Meghan per se, but I mean the fact he's talking to the papers about all of this is not going to go down well with them. I mean, it's making a very personal, private matter into another public display, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's why they split up, the family split up in 2018, because he did a deal with the papers then, and photographers rather, trying to show him getting prepared for the royal wedding. So he did this deal with photographers. And because of that, they don't speak. And it's quite ironic, really, because one of the reasons that Harry and Meghan are not trusted by the King, and certainly by Prince William, is because they do the same. They go immediately, you know, you don't know what's going to be in the next book or in the next Netflix series, you know, so the royal family is very suspicious about the Sussexes, and the Sussexes are suspicious, hang on, I can't say it, so they're suspicious about the Markles, you know.
Yes, Meghan Markle. It's funny, actually, because I was just thinking as we were saying Meghan Markle, and I was thinking she's Duchess of Sussex now. She's been Duchess of Sussex for quite a while now, hasn't she?
Well, yes. Yeah, so she's keen to remind us, of course.
I know, every time, yes, exactly. But yes, what is her... I mean, officially, if you couldn't put Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Sussex,
Meghan Sussex, yeah.
Yeah.
It's ironic, isn't it, that also they're supposed to have reached out to the father, but we don't know how. The hospital are denying that they've done that. They haven't had any message, they say. So that's kind of interesting in itself, that somebody's not telling the truth there.
Yeah. Yeah, let's face it, it's one of those things that
You can't win.
No,
on this
I was
one.
about to say.
Yeah. All right, Ian, thanks very much indeed. Still to come, we've got the sport. It's the decider in the desert today. Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, all taking on the battle for the F1 world title. More in a minute.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What we're going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Right, time to get all the latest sports news. A big weekend for the sport.
Oh, you could say that again, Penny. I mean,
It's a big weekend for the sport.
Look, Mo Salah has had an outrageous broadside at his manager, Arne Slot. We've had the title race blown wide open with Manchester City winning and Arsenal losing at Aston Villa. We've got England being skittled out down in Brisbane, and they're going to lose the second test, I would think. But I want to focus just for now on the F1, because we've got a sizzling day of action in store for us today in Abu Dhabi. I want to bring in Martin Donnelly, the former F1 driver. Now, Martin, good morning to you first of all. Just put into some kind of context for me what it would mean for Lando Norris to win and get the job done today, because he has to finish on the podium. We know that, but it's easier said than done, isn't it?
Well, yeah, as you said, easier said than done, but we've got a typical Hollywood-style show-off between three great drivers of potential becoming world champion. We obviously want to push our British boy forward, so we get another one after Jenson Button. No better man for the job than Lando. All Lando has to do today and it sounds simple, is just finishing the podium. But if I was Max Verstappen and I got the lead, I would be playing dirty tactics and push them back into Piastri behind me, because the more pressure you put on Lando, the more likely he is to make mistakes. Maybe he's got both hands to the trophy today at the moment, but it's quite easy to drop that trophy.
Martin, we know all about the no-blame culture at McLaren, but do you feel personally that he's been let down by his team in the last couple of races?
Yeah, both drivers have been. I mean, it wasn't the fault of the drivers. They got disqualified for having worn through their plank under the car. That was down to a technical issue with the team. And then last weekend in Qatar, they made their own pit strategy and they paid the price for that. So the drivers are doing the job. It's the team themselves, the technical boffins behind that are constantly making silly, small mistakes that have big consequences. Hopefully today that won't happen.
If he can get the job done today, Martin, do you think it could be the first of many? We see it in sport a lot, don't we, where someone wins one and it opens the floodgates for more and more?
Correct. Well, we've got guys come in there in free practice one. I think there's 9 new rookie drivers in there, one being a British driver who's now landed the V-Corp drive for next year. So it's another Brit in the grid. Obviously, he's novice, but he'll learn quickly. He's got the speed. And, you know, it'll obviously inspire other drivers coming up through the ranks in British GP and F2.
Listen, thanks very much indeed for joining us, Martin. We hope it's a great race today. We hope that Lando Norris, of course, can get the job done. That's Martin Donnelly, the former F1 driver. As I said, loads of other sports to cover as well. Mo Salah, what was he up to? Having a go at his manager like that, Arne Slot, just coming out.
He's been left out. I mean, think how important he is as a player, and he's been left out of 3 matches.
Yeah, that's true, and he probably wonders why he's the only one being targeted, or scapegoated was the word Penny used a couple of hours ago. But yeah, I think he probably has got a point. It'd be interesting to see how it divides the fan base, because I think it will. Sources at Liverpool have been saying this morning off the record that it's hugely disappointing, because they fear now that this could tarnish the legacy of a player. I think has scored about 250-odd goals in 420 matches. He's won the Champions League there, he's won 2 league titles, and it looks for all the world now as if he could be exiting Anfield during the transfer window next month.
Has he got loads of mates there, Mo Salah, at Liverpool, as in the team?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, the one thing we kind of overlook is the death of Diogo Jota last summer. I do think that the players have to find a way of getting past that. That sounds a little bit insensitive, I understand that, but when you lose a teammate, nobody really knows, unless they're in the dressing room, how that can feel and the effect it can have on the team. We've seen it happen in the past. But nonetheless, they signed so many players in the summer, so many top players, £450 million. They should have won the league at a canter this season. They're not doing it. The title race, as I say, blown wide open, Arsenal losing at Villa, and England skittled out in the Ashes. I think that's the second test all done now.
OK.
Pride to play for.
Aidan, yeah. All right, thanks very much.
Good to see you this weekend.
Now, still to come, 50% of men struggle with hair loss, but new research reveals there could be a cure on the way. Emma and Lewis are going to bring us all the details next.
That'll be good. First, though, if you fancy a bit of holiday sun, let's have a look at the European forecast.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean All Clear Skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Hello there. It's still pretty unsettled in the eastern Mediterranean over the next few days. There will be some heavy showers and thunderstorms around too. But across Iberia and actually most of the Canary Islands and Madeira, it's largely fine, and there'll be plenty of sunshine on Monday. Just a few showers for northwestern parts of Spain and Portugal. Sunny for most of Italy too, but we run into more in the way of showers and stronger winds pushing down across parts of Greece and into Turkey. But overall, over the next few days, there's lots of sunshine to be enjoyed, and it will feel fairly warm.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
Well, he went to Sandhurst and graduated, and then decided the Paras wanted him, so he decided to go Royal Artillery. And he loved being in the army. He loved the camaraderie, the spirit, everything else. And he had a great career ahead of him. Went to Iraq and Afghanistan and came back, and everything was fine. We were so relieved as parents. And then the signs started to be there of PTSD. It was quite a while after he came back that they sort of manifested themselves, and yeah, everything went downhill after that. And it was a long fight for him to try and get help, but there was no help available. There was no one he could turn to. And in the end, my wife and I, we had to care for him, which was very, very difficult for all of us. And there, you know, he was with us for about 18 months, and then in the end he passed away. He had an enlarged heart. He was struggling very much with PTSD, so he turned to alcohol, but as most veterans do when they have this problem. And in the end, he obviously passed away 8 years ago, and we had no help at the time, and we didn't have anybody giving us advice or where we could go. And I was with Nigel. Well, I went to Combat to Coffee a few years ago with Nigel, and we got this. The author of the book, Rob Parker, presented this to us and sent it to me. And everything in here in this book was so true. And with us, it was like a manual for us, or a diary really, of what was happening and what could happen.
GB News, the People's Channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Right, it is 8:44, time for the papers with Emma Wolfe and Lewis Oakley. Lewis, let's talk hair to begin with. Shall we? The Daily Star says we can keep our hair on.
Yes. They've said the baldness cure is on the way. They have said it might still take a few decades, but I really think that this is great news. As someone that lives in fear of one day losing his hair and takes a lot of preventative measures to try and stop it happening.
What do you do?
There's special shampoo you can get. Apparently it's a build-up of sebum that sometimes kills off the hair. So there's special shampoo you can get to get rid of all this stuff. So use all that, use different sprays.
I think it's genetic.
You may have noticed I've stopped straightening my hair. I've embraced the curls just to...
The curls are lovely.
Thank you.
What is the solution, though?
Well, so they're basically saying everything is coming at the same time. They've got these different treatments, and obviously a lot of people will go to Turkey, which is exactly where I'll be if I do start losing my hair.
You don't want to get it done in Turkey.
Why?
Get it done in the UK, because you can end up coming back looking like a Lego man. With it. A number of people I know, it's just right. Get it done in the UK.
Yeah.
OK.
Just in case it goes wrong. So that's that. So
this is what struck me. Half of men and 40% of women experience hair loss.
Yeah.
By the end of their 50s.
Did you see the amazing piece by Sarah Vine this week?
Oh, yeah.
With her toupee and her wig off. Yeah. That is brave. Yeah. Men, we expect baldness of some degree. Women to be bald is still a real taboo.
She's not totally bald. I mean, it's the same as male pattern baldness, actually. It's just very fine and patchy. But yeah, so this is baldness cure is on the way.
It's on the way. And I will say, obviously it's really hard for women, but a lot of the statistics around men, it really impacts their self-confidence. It really can impact their mental health. So as much as we kind of factor it in as just something that happens and maybe it's a bit of a joke, actually for a lot of men it really makes them struggle.
Can we move to the World Mullet Fest in Australia from there?
Well, there's too much hair, frankly.
Too much hair. Well, what do we think about a mullet? Was it ever a good look, a mullet?
I'm not a fan of the mullet, I have to say. I just want to get a pair of scissors and chop at the back. The mullet, just the flappy bits at the thingy. I grew up with Pat Sharp. He was the mullet king of... Do you remember the DJ? At Capital Radio.
We know Pat very well.
Oh, we love Pat. I've been on this show. Pat's brilliant, but he doesn't have a mullet now. So
No,
to
he
me,
doesn't, no.
he's so... I love that man. But he's a very different man to the one with the mullet back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
He's grown up.
We
never found the urge.
But it was an abomination.
It was an abomination.
But you know why mullets are coming back?
Flicky bits.
Oh, no, really, are they?
They're really back, yeah. But and there's loads of people walking about with mullets now. It's Stranger Things.
Oh.
Because the people in because it's set in the 80s.
Yeah.
A lot of the kids in Stranger Things have got mullets, and it's all come back.
I don't mind a little child with a mullet. That's quite cute.
no,
but a
it's
grown
not.
man with a mullet is wrong, isn't it?
This is the picture that I was looking at earlier on with the Mullet Fest.
Mullet Fest. Oh dear. And they have big festivals, and these are grown-up rednecks. With their mullets.
You expect a redneck to have a mullet, don't you?
I know, but it's not a great look. Whereas actually a little child with a mullet is quite sweet.
Oh, give over. You're going soft in your old age.
Now, Lewis, virtually every day we've had something about poor old Gen Z.
Yes.
And now...
I'm slightly worried, you know, because we moan a lot about Gen Zers, and yet our entire staff are Gen Zers. Everyone making this show is a Gen Zer.
They'll pull the plug on us.
Careful reading your auto cue now.
Oops. Are we talking about them too much? Is it causing them anxiety disorders?
So basically, Gen Zers are saying that work from home is leaving them feeling anonymous, and that they're basically missing their colleagues. And I think it's quite an interesting one, because I think a lot of people think, oh, Gen Z, they don't want to be in the office, but actually this survey is saying that no, they do, and they miss that connection. I think it's really interesting, because actually the sort of older people in the office are saying we really couldn't care less about being in the office, and I'm one of those people that, you know, my company, I've worked there 6 years, I'm like, I really don't need to be in every day. I actually get more done at home, but actually sort of forcing myself in, because it's, well, how are they going to learn otherwise?
Yes, that is the point, is that it's about you get advice from all ends. The older people get advice from younger people and vice versa, and that's a brilliant thing.
And it's such a part of growing up as well, and you're social. I mean, I just remember my first proper job, being in the office. You were there 5 days a week. There was no working from home at all. And you would have, relationships were begun in offices. People used to meet each other in offices.
After work drinks.
Well, this was saying that the Gen Z has missed going to the pub.
All the fun.
Yeah.
Booking your holidays on lastminute.com because the internet at home was
so awful.
Slow. Yeah, that's why they call it Cyber Monday, because everyone used to see the deals on a Friday, but then the home internet was so slow that people would go in on the Monday and book their deals.
Yeah. Now, what would you be, though, if you weren't who you are? So this is another story in the papers. This is about Ian Botham, who was known as Beefy Botham. Beefy.
Yeah, so he thinks that he could have been a great James Bond if he'd chosen the big screen over cricket. And I think
could have been a great footballer if I'd learned how to play football.
Oh. No. Well, it's presumably he's all right at acting, isn't he?
Why?
He says his name was...
He did an advert for Shredded Wheat, but that's the only acting I've seen him do.
He says his name was put forward to be the next 007 at the height of his fame in the mid-90s.
Give over.
1980s, at the time of the mullet.
We were talking about anxiety at the beginning of the show, and this is one thing that really terrifies me, the idea that I would get to... How old is he now? 70? He's 70. Get to 70 and then think, oh, I should have done something else with my life. That really... that worries me.
Don't be silly. When you're 70, you'll be thinking about other things. You do life.
Yeah, lying down.
My granddad was in his 90s, and he always used to say to me, never say, I wish I'd have done that.
Exactly.
That was his advice.
Yeah,
But I guess at some point you have to choose. You know, he's pretty accomplished anyway.
You haven't chosen. You've had older kids, you've got younger children, you're straight and gay and bi and everything. I think you are living the absolutely all the options.
That's my high-performance anxiety.
All the
do it all,
options
so you don't ever
5
feel...
jobs. You've never
But what would
limited
you have
yourself.
been?
I would have been a prima ballerina. I haven't danced since I was about 13, but I would have been a ballerina. This is ludicrous. You can't say I would have been a... Well, I would have been a top cricketer.
What were you good at that you could have been?
I would have been a doctor.
Oh, I can see you as a doctor.
What is your doctorate in? Because you are a doctor.
Well, I would have been a medical doctor.
Yeah, but
because I've got a couple of doctorates.
Okay.
Various
you do have PhDs.
But it's arts, D-Lit and Arts D.
Okay.
But it's I studied applied human physiology.
Oh, wow.
So I could have... I mean, I'm very into the genetics and all that.
You see, I think I'd be quite a good surgeon because I'm really tidy and everything else, and I don't have a problem with blood and all the rest of it, and I do really good stitching that probably nobody would ever see. My problem is that my maths is not very good, so I'd be doing that thing of 25 millilitres of... Do I mean millilitres or do I millimetres?
Milligrams.
Or is it 10 milligrams?
And you are good at sewing and all of that. That would be really neat.
And stitch them up. Just leave her to stitch them up.
Yeah, she could dye their gowns all glorious colours.
See, I could quite do that. I think I could.
Absolutely. OK, well, I'll be a ballerina.
I don't know what my other talents are. So someone asked one of the younger kids in my family, what do you want to be like when you grow up? What job are you going to do? And they were like, I think I might just get a job talking like Lewis. I was like, that's not my job.
When my little boy sees, like, a blonde newsreader or anybody on telly or a weather forecaster, he goes, that's my mummy on telly. That's any blonde on telly is that's his mummy.
Nice, though.
Yeah.
Now,
that's
Emma,
quite nice.
take us through festive jumpers, then. Do you even have a festive jumper?
Well, yeah. And we've talked... I don't, and I really want one. I want recommendations for a good... Nice.
A knitted one.
A knitted one, but nice quality. I don't want
I want a V-neck.
Synthetic one.
No, I don't want a synthetic one. I want a V-neck. I want it a nice shape so that I don't look ridiculous.
Yeah, like
I mean, obviously, I don't care about looking ridiculous, but I just want it to be a V-neck. I like a V-neck.
Right.
High necks just make me uncomfortable. I get
and too hot. Once the turkey gets going and everything, it's too hot.
My thing about Christmas jumpers is you're going to have to get a new one every year. Otherwise, every Christmas is going to look the same if you're in the same jumper. So they're not very sustainable.
No,
so
I just want one, and I'll wear it once a year. And I just want a nice red with some glittery, sparkly stuff.
But then you'll look the same in every photo from every year.
I mean, I've got it's not a Christmas jumper as such, but a jumper with a Christmassy sort of pattern on.
Oh, that's
right.
But I just wear it I don't wear it every Christmas day, but I wear it at around Christmas every year.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not around the time. It's not it's the people now that have a hilarious comedic...
With sort of like reindeer ears and bits that you go beep, beep.
That sort of thing.
Not advisable for the ladies, I think.
Apparently, 67% of us have a Christmas jumper. Oh, actually,
so it's up to 87% now.
87. That was in 2020.
Exactly.
This is 87%. We are one of the few. Hasn't got a Christmas jumper.
Up to 87% of Brits now have a festive woolly, which I think is absolutely brilliant. It's Christmas jumper day at my son's school tomorrow.
Will you guys wear a festive jumper to the GB News Christmas party? Or will you wear your suit?
Is there a Christmas jumper? Have I been invited?
I was going to say, I haven't been invited.
I'm assuming there's a Christmas party.
Well, yes, I'm not going to the Christmas party.
Oh,
right, OK.
Well, no, it's on a Saturday. As all with these things, it's on a Saturday night, and I've got to get up at 3 o'clock on Sunday morning.
Well, we've elicited the information. There is one, and we are NFI.
Ah.
You're not...
Oh, no, I tell you what, meanwhile, Stephen's been doing an excellent, sterling job of finding a jumper.
For me, good.
So who do you recommend that one?
It's a knitted... Fair Isle.
Lovely.
Sorry, this doesn't make for very good telly. Us all staring at his laptop.
24 quid.
Yeah.
Where's that?
Yeah, it's OK. Listen.
OK.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Emma. Thank you very much, Lewis, whichever way around.
We'll wear it next time.
Let's go to check on the weather with Tom Morgan.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. We've got further wet and windy weather on the way through today, but it will be turning much milder once again in the south. And it's a damp start to the day for many of us. Outbreaks of rain and drizzle across more southern parts of England and Wales, and the rain's especially heavy across parts of Northern Ireland today, where we do have a rain warning in place. The rain will continue to make its way slowly and steadily northeastwards across the UK through the course of today, so some pretty heavy bursts of rain through this afternoon across southern western parts of Scotland and northern England. And here, after quite a cold start, feeling fairly chilly through this afternoon. Further south, though, 13 or 14 degrees, but actually turning quite windy as we go into this afternoon, with some coastal gales across southwestern parts of England. But across more northern parts of Scotland, after a dry start, the rain will arrive through this evening as well. Some particularly heavy rain coming into the central lowlands and the Lothians as well as we go towards the evening. But tending to turn a little bit drier across parts of Northern Ireland, so some clear spells developing here, and actually turning much drier across the vast majority of England and Wales by this evening with some clear spells, and staying mild and breezy as we go through the course of tonight. There will be a tendency for the showers to increase, so potentially a band of heavier and more general rain pushing its way in from the west into parts of Wales and western England as we go through the course of the night. Perhaps even the odd rumble of thunder and some hail mixed in with this, and some quite squally winds too. But it will be a mild night, temperatures actually not falling below double figures in the south, and even further north, lows of 5 or 6 degrees, so generally speaking, a frost-free night to come. Now, Monday will be much brighter compared to on Sunday. There'll be some sunny spells for many parts of the UK, perhaps some longer spells of rain for parts of Scotland for a time. And there will be a scattering of showers elsewhere, but primarily in the north and the west, and actually some areas, mainly in the east, will stay largely dry. It will start to turn a little bit cloudier in the south later in the day, but temperatures are 13 or 14 degrees, so once again very mild.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
This is your chance to become our biggest cash prize winner to date. £85,000 in totally tax-free cash could be making its way from our bank account to yours. It would be like having over £7,000 per month extra to play with each month for a whole year. That could be you, safe in the knowledge that 2026 is on us. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
People are getting married less because, society has changed. People are simply becoming more secular. And because they're becoming more secular, they don't view that marriage is a divine religious institution. And that more and more people have turned away from God, and because they've turned away from God, they don't view, the institution that has been the bedrock of society. So society has changed. People have moved away from religion or organized religion, and they just don't view it as a bedrock of religious religious growth. People don't think getting right with the Lord Jesus or having a pastor in their life as part of their marriage. Also, younger people today care more about their careers. They care more about financial stability. They care more about having their own lives and their freedom than traditional marriage than it used to be. So it's just a big change of society today.
And Charlie Downs, does that matter? Are there negatives to being focused on career and choosing to shack up as opposed to get married in church?
Very much so. I mean, I like to think that I am slightly swimming against the tide because, there we go, I got married at the beginning of last month, and I'm 24. Aww. And the last time that the average age of marriage in this country was 24 was 60 years ago. The average age of marriage now is about 33 years old, which is a historic high. And I think this is largely because of the reasons that Pastor Mark outlined just now, which is that we don't actually understand as young people what marriage is.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good morning. The Prime Minister unleashes a new attack on Reform UK.
So Keir Starmer hits out at what he calls division and admits he's worried about the future of Britain if Reform was elected.
He's also confirmed talks with the EU about a new youth mobility scheme, and he says Angela Rayner will make a return to the Cabinet.
Within the last hour, breaking news, thousands of migrants may have been given visas despite failing mandatory English language tests. This is after a marking error.
Are raped in our country tonight, that you might be waiting until 2028, 2029 for a hearing.
Justice Secretary David Lammy accused of misrepresenting rape case figures in what critics call a cynical push to scrap jury trials.
Thomas Markle breaks his silence from his hospital bed to urge Meghan, his daughter, to reconcile, saying he doesn't want to die estranged.
Smorgasbord of misery we just heard from her can be summed up in one sentence. Labour are hiking taxes to pay for welfare. This is a budget for Benefit Street, Madam Deputy Speaker, paid for by working people.
Well, the Conservatives pledging to clamp down on eligibility for the Motability scheme. We've been asking whether taxpayers should fund cars for people with mental health issues.
Thousands of people are going to descend on Liverpool's streets today to partake in Britain's biggest festive fun run. It's called the Santa Dash.
Ho, ho, ho from Liverpool. Christmas has arrived as over 11,000 people take part in the largest Santa Dash in the UK. We'll be here throughout the day.
Are you fed up of the rain? Find out if there's any dry weather on the way in your full forecast coming up.
It's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Penny Smith and this is GB News Breakfast.
Quite like seeing all those Santas in Liverpool.
I know.
I mean, they're not real Santas.
I know, I was just about to say they're dressed up as Santas, obviously, because there is only one Santa.
But nevertheless, I think that looks really fun.
It does.
You can't beat Liverpool for having a good time.
No, they're great, aren't they? Sort of, all that sort of, I mean, even the drizzle, we don't care.
No.
Except, can I just say, so the dog, of course, has a little kind of...
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he does. He has a little reindeer outfit.
Oh, nice.
And the thing is, it's the one thing that he doesn't mind wearing. There's quite a lot of the ones, his little things that... little outfits. He hates every single one. I can only put them on, take a photograph and then take them off because he gets irritated. But he likes his one with the little reindeer things until it gets wet. When it starts hanging down.
Oh, bless him.
I know, he doesn't like it. Reminds me of a roost bathing costume I had, which was a hand-me-down, which when wet used to hang down and chafe your knees.
Oh, yes, not a good look.
No.
Well, our dog is the size of a reindeer, so we can't put an outfit on him.
But that's it. What is this dog?
Rhodesian Ridgeback.
Oh, they are a very handsome animal.
Very handsome, very big, beautiful. Anyway, enough of that, because there's all this politics going on this morning.
There is a lot.
And so what we need to do, actually, is head over to Westminster and talk to Camilla Tominey ahead of her show at 9:30, where she's going to be, obviously, getting to the bottom of everything which is going on, including this... I think it's a little bit odd, Camilla, this interview that is done in The Observer. It sounds like some sort of very odd PR exercise where he's trying to come across as the man of the people.
Yeah, I know, it is interesting, isn't it? So The Observer does an interview every week where they go on a walk with somebody who is high profile in politics and beyond. They couldn't go for a walk because of his security detail. So instead they're going through a school, and that lends itself to him talking about his childhood, talking about his relationship with his parents and all the rest of it. Now, it's in The Observer, so it's obviously quite soft, but there's a few killer lines in there. One of them is the fact that when he's asked repeatedly, I think he's asked 5 times, whether he thinks Britain will rejoin the EU in his lifetime, he can't give an answer. Then he's asked about Angela Rayner, his former Deputy Prime Minister, who has been disenfranchised from Cabinet after the whole fiasco over her not paying tax, various different bits of tax on her Hove place. He kind of says, yeah, we want her back in the Cabinet, but then we've got briefings in other newspapers, including The Telegraph yesterday, suggesting that actually Angela Rayner's got no interest whatsoever dealing with Keir Starmer and would actually rather be on some kind of joint ticket with Wes Streeting. So it's a bizarre sort of attempt to, what's the word? I think it's reset. I think there's another reset in the offing. He also has a go at Reform to the right of him and the Greens to the left of him. And let's be honest, that's where the attacks are coming from. We had a poll out last week that put Labour down to 14%. Find Out Now said, and they're not doing very well in the south of England particularly, which then lends itself to a discussion about these postponed elections. So I'll be putting all of this to Pat McFadden, who is very close to the Prime Minister. He's now Work and Pensions Secretary, but Pat is on the inside of Downing Street, very much clued in. So we'll ask him what he makes of the Prime Minister's tanking approval rating, and also, of course, ask him about welfare, because Labour keep on saying they're cutting welfare. No, they're not. The welfare bill is going up. It's in the budget. I tried to ask James Murray about that last week. Couldn't elicit an answer. Let's hope Pat McFadden is a bit more forthcoming.
But also with Pat McFadden, I mean, look, we've talked to him so much. He's on this channel so regularly. We feel like we know him personally.
We love that about him.
Well, we do. But isn't there a new scheme being unveiled by the government to try and get more young people into work? At the moment, at a time when a lot of employers are saying, well, because of decisions made in this budget and the one before, they can't afford to employ more young people.
I know, it sounds contradictory, doesn't it? So they're spending £120 million on this new measure, as you say, to try and encourage younger people into work. But the trouble is that the Centre for Policy Studies has carried out an investigation into the effect that putting the minimum wage has on employers. And actually, I'm going to be speaking to Kate Nichols, who's from the Hospitality UK. She represents pubs and restaurants and hotels and things. The trouble with that minimum wage hike is it actually made it, according to the CPS, £4,000 more expensive for every employer that wants to take on an 18 to 20-year-old. And we've had all this rhetoric from Labour in the week, haven't we, about lifting 500,000 children out of poverty with the scrapping of the two-child benefit cap. But it begs the question, if youth unemployment's going up, what's the point in lifting children out of poverty if when they turn 18 they can't get a job? So I'll be putting all of this to him. Also speaking to Helen Whately, so that's the opposite number for the Tories. They've got plans to scrap Motability cars for people with conditions like mild anxiety and ADHD, which has obviously courted quite a lot of controversy. Reform Deputy Leader Richard Tice spoke about the overdiagnosis of children and received death threats in response. So it's a nettle the Tories now want to grasp, which should be interesting.
Yeah, I thought there's quite a lot of interesting stuff in here. I mean, apart from anything else, he talks about, you know, on the personal side, he talks about having gone to the same barber for 20 years and having introduced his son to the barber, who they now go together. He loves having solitary walks, but he can't do that because there's always the security detail with him, and he feels that he ought to chat to them. But when you were talking about the Tories and reform, he takes the dig at reform by saying he's never worried about the future of our country under a Tory government. And then he goes on to say about, with reform, I worry about what will happen.
Yes, I suppose that's a bit of a gift to Kemi Badenoch, who, let's be honest, has been performing much better in recent weeks, particularly opposite the Prime Minister at the dispatch box. But again, you know, the Observer interview doesn't really delve into fairly obvious questioning, I would have thought, about the Chancellor's fitness for office. And we've got in a situation now where we've got lies in a CV, got lies in a budget. We now find out she wasn't actually the under-14 girls chess champion, but came 24th out of 36. And yet she remains in post. It's like there's a massive elephant in the room here that isn't addressed by that interview. But then maybe that's why the Prime Minister doesn't come on my show, because we would be asking him questions along the lines of, are you and your Chancellor fit for purpose? Prove to the audience that you are, after what has been probably the most shambolic budget, both in preparation and post, that we've ever witnessed. I mean, maybe with the exception of Kwasi Kwarteng and Liz Truss, but there you have it. Also, by the way, going to be discussing Ukraine with the former Tory MP, Bob Seeley, who is going out, I think, to Kiev on Monday. So we'll be asking him what things are like for the troops on the ground there with the 28-point plan. Speaking to Sharon Davies, the former Olympic swimmer, about this whole puberty blocker trial, and Baroness Faulkner, the equalities chief, saying that Labour has a woman problem.
Yes. So it's going to be interesting. It sounds like a packed show. Just before we let you go, Camilla, because we were discussing it earlier, have you got a Christmas jumper?
I have got a Christmas jumper, and do you know what? I bought a new one. After this, I'll give it a very quick plug. I'm going to the Telegraph because we've got our Christmas appeal phone-in today. So if people phone in, they can see it on my socials, get to speak to me, pledge some money towards our 4 charities. And I bought, especially, a Christmas jumper to take those phone calls this afternoon.
Oh, I should look forward to seeing that. Yeah. All right, Camilla, thank you very much indeed. We'll see you at 9:30.
Yeah.
Oh, dear me. It does seem like a very odd time in politics. I mean, the one thing that Keir Starmer says in this, which I struggle with slightly, is he says if reform got in, you know, it's going to change the country. It's not who we are as a nation. But I sort of think he's not really across what a lot of people in this country are feeling about where we are now as a nation.
And also about experience, and we know that that's the problem with politicians in general, is the fact that they live in this kind of they end up, probably don't mean to, but they end up living in a kind of rarefied air where you don't see the issues that some people are battling.
Yeah, no, I think that's very true. Very true, and I'm sure you have thoughts on that, and I'm sure you want to see what Camilla gets out of her guest this morning at 9:30.
Meanwhile, the time is... Actually, what time is that? What time does that say? 9:10, sorry. There we go. 9:10. Time for the Great British Giveaway and your chance to win our biggest cash prize of the year, an incredible £85,000. Here are all the details.
We want to make the new year your best year yet, with a chance to win our greatest cash prize to date. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Cash to splash on anything you can dream of. Treat the family to that bucket list holiday you've always fancied. Get your dream car you've always wanted. Or just relax, safe in the knowledge that the coming year is on us. £85,000 is the biggest cash prize we've ever given away. It's totally tax-free, which means that every single penny of it will be yours. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 9th of February 2026. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yeah, best of luck. What could you do with £85,000?
Quite a lot, I think.
See, I'm dull like that. I'd be like, put it in the pension pot.
Exciting.
Well, yeah, but then it makes more money over the, then you've got
yes,
more money
I know
to
that.
retire
Yes,
on.
I know all the sensible things. I know. But on the other hand, I've seen a really nice pair of boots.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go.
Not for 86,000, honestly, they're a lot cheaper than that. But anyway, no, there's loads of things I could do. I might even reorganise the kitchen. I think my fridge might be on its last legs.
Oh, dear. Oh, well, you get a fancy fridge for that, that's for sure.
You certainly would.
Right, still to come, thousands of Father Christmases are taking over Liverpool this morning. Look at them go.
Oh.
It's the Santa Dash.
Hold on a second, blue?
There's some blue ones as well. Well, why not? There's lots of blue ones, actually. We'll find out what's going on live from Liverpool in just a moment.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversations.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
It is 16 minutes past 9. It's time for the Daily Reflection.
The GB News Advent Calendar, Day 7.
Hi, I'm Chris Tufnell, a vicar in the Church of England. We all know what it's like to wait for something that's taking far longer than it should. The parcel that's out for delivery for several days running, the customer service's callback that never seems to come. When promises are delayed, it either makes us doubt they'll ever be kept, or if we really trust the one who's made the promise, it grows our anticipation. Now, you can't really understand the message of Christmas without realizing that the birth of Jesus was something promised and anticipated for centuries. And so when he was finally born, for those who realized who he was, it was a cause of unspeakable joy. An old man called Simeon, who had been anticipating this moment for many years, held the newborn Jesus in his arms and prayed, "Sovereign Lord, as you have promised, you may now dismiss your servant in peace, for my eyes have seen your salvation." Christians believe that joy and peace and even a readiness to die come when we see and understand who Jesus is and why he came and what promises of God are fulfilled in him.
Actually, I love these little Advent messages.
Yeah.
It's nice, isn't it?
I know, it is. It's a bit like the Advent. The Advent calendar, do you know what? The Advent calendar was loomed large as a child. 4 of us all arguing over who got to open the first one and, of course, who got to open the double windows at the end. And that was in the era when you were terribly excited to open one and it was a picture of a donkey behind it.
Yes, there's just pictures behind.
It was just pictures. And I was we were all very happy and we still had to manage to have a quick row and there was a bit of argy-bargy
What goes on now when there's chocolate and things behind?
Oh, no idea. No idea.
We're very old, Penny.
We are. Now, thousands of Father Christmases, not Father Christmases, people pretending to be Father Christmas, taking over Liverpool today as the annual Santa Dash returns.
It's the country's biggest festive fun run with, we think, 9,000 people taking part. That 5-kilometre run this morning.
Yeah. Joining us now is GB News reporter Diggy Beattie. Tell us what's going on.
Well, it's actually 11,100 registrations for this Santa Dash through Liverpool. It's totally mad, but I have to say, it starts off ho, 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 and if it was me running it, it would end up ha, ha, ha at the end of it. But yeah, we've come in amongst the start of it to have a look-see. And of course, Liverpool is a red city, and some say it's a blue city. This man, how are you, sir?
I'm all right.
You have a blue hat and you have a red. I mean, what's going on?
Oh, they only have 1,000 blue suits, you see, so I was a little bit devastated, but it's for charity, so I'll grin and bear it today.
So you run this regularly, do you?
Yeah, every year. Yeah.
And what's your time?
Oh, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's for all the day, so it doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter.
Well, I could tell you, Stephen and Penny, but there's a few ringers in amongst us, because some people take it very, very seriously indeed. And we have guys, we could just get a shot there, John. Lack of a Santa outfit in the bottom. You're a running club, aren't you?
We're a running club. We're from the Liverpool Irish Rovers. I'd recognise the accent. And we're in another club called Kirby Milers Athletics Club. And these are our two star runners today. We've got Derry and Xander. I'm going to predict that Derry is going to be in #1 position with a 16-minute 5k finish, and Xander probably around about 18 minutes. I'll be at the back.
And have you any money on it?
100 quid on Derry. 100 quid on Derry. And if he doesn't, he's in trouble.
Is that going to charity?
Maybe.
Charity of the Santa at home, because of course these aren't all real Santas. There's only one real Santa, and we believe he's back up there somewhere. We did sort of look at him a little bit earlier, but there's a really, really fantastic atmosphere here in amongst them. Look at some of these children running. Look at that. They're only small. They only had 2 sizes of suits though. They had 5 to 12-year-old, and then 12-year-old on to food adult. Of course, with the size of me and my fat stomach, I couldn't fit in any of them. You know, child size, adult size this way. But we'll work on that after Christmas. We'll see if we can get anybody else in amongst us at the moment. Just come this way, John, and we'll see, can we get anybody, because this, of course, does raise money for charities all over the UK, lots of hospitals and so forth. And oh, look at this. Look at these lovely women here. And look at their beautiful Santa outfits. That wasn't one of the preferred Santa outfits. Where did you get this?
Timu, I think.
At least she's honest. Timo, there you go. We're in for a great day here in Liverpool. 11,000 Santas running the streets, 5k. We'll be here throughout the day.
Oh, fantastic. Doogie, thank you very much indeed.
Did Doogie say he was actually running?
No.
Oh, OK.
Oh, no.
I was just...
He's not daft. He's not daft, you know.
Well, I don't know, you could have an amble. It doesn't have to be a race to the end, does it? It doesn't have to be a 5-minute mile like the people who are coming in first.
Oh, I know, that's impressive, actually.
5 minutes, a mile in 5 minutes.
But you know what? I love the guy at the very beginning saying, I mean, what's your best time? It doesn't matter. I'm just doing it for older hay. The Children's Hospital.
There you go.
And that is what I like.
Exactly. We love a charity. We love a charity fun run.
Yeah,
because it's
brilliant.
it's just great, exactly. Raising money for good causes. Yeah.
Lovely. Best of luck to all of those standing Father Christmases doing that. That is it from us. Don't go anywhere. Camilla Tomlin is here with all the politics in a moment.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. We've got further wet and windy weather on the way through today, but it will be turning much milder once again in the south. And it's a damp start to the day for many of us. Outbreaks of rain and drizzle across more southern parts of England and Wales, and the rain's especially heavy across parts of Northern Ireland today, where we do have a rain warning in place. The rain will continue to make its way slowly and steadily northeastwards across the UK through the course of today, so some pretty heavy bursts of rain through this afternoon across southern western parts of Scotland and northern England. And here, after quite a cold start, feeling fairly chilly